Alrighty. Greetings and salutations, everyone. My name is James Kirchhoff, and welcome to our Sunday morning live stream for Week 15 of the 2023 fantasy football season. This is the first round of the fantasy playoffs. For many of you who are joining us, obviously we had players that went on to either succeed and or potentially fail yesterday in their overall efforts. There were a lot of interesting performances yesterday. A lot of injuries, of course. Guys like Michael Pittman Jr., Zach Moss, Jamar Chase going down with injuries in that first game obviously made a huge impact upon our potential fantasy teams going into the night game. A legacy game for Jared Goff, 5 touchdowns. I think the last time he threw for 5 touchdowns was probably that Monday Night Football game against the Kansas City Chiefs when he was a member of the LA Rams. Pretty crazy numbers across the board. Either way, good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. As you guys can see to the right side of the screen, we have updated rankings as of today, Sunday of Week 15, for all 4 primary positions. My top 36 running backs and wide receivers, my top 16 quarterbacks and tight ends. So I've gone ahead and I've removed any players from these, 8 teams who have already played as of thus far this week. And we have the following rankings for a half PPR, 4-point per passing touchdown, meeting everyone in the middle. If you guys are wondering what I would do in terms of positional rankings, I would approach as such. Now, I have a couple players here that are hit with a questionable tag next to them. Players like Devon Achane at number 18 at running back. Players like specifically Tyreek Hill at number 6 at wide receiver. And of course, Chris Olave at number 19 at wide receiver. So as of this current moment in time, still we're not 100% certain as to whether those 3 are going to play. My assumption, if I was going to guess, is that both Devon Achane and Chris Olave do not play today. So of course, we'll have to, wait and see. In the coming hours, we'll get more and more information that is made public in terms of the actives/inactives going into the game. But the primary reason I believe, first and foremost, Devon Achane is going, there have been already a couple reports that have come out over the course of the last 8 hours. One in which regards to Chris Olave, which they said there is less optimism regarding Olave's situation for him playing this week based on people inside of the organization of the Saints. That was reported by, if I'm not mistaken, Ian Rappaport. And then there was also another report. Well, not even another report. We were given the designation that the Miami Dolphins elevated Darrington Evans, a running back from their practice squad. The only reason you would do so is if you need a running back on roster or someone to play special teams. The assumption is that if you already have Jeff Wilson and you have Raheem Mostert, you would only elevate Darrington Evans just in case, because Devon Achane may end up missing here. So either way, should be good to go. If anything changes, I'll I'll go ahead and readjust the rankings as we typically do. That's why rankings are always subject to change. So if anything changes in regards to any of those 3 players' overall circumstances, we will adjust the rankings accordingly. That will also potentially in turn adjust the rankings to someone like Tua Tagovailoa and all that kind of jazz. Okay. Also, like we typically do every single Sunday and or potential, rankings live stream, I'm more than happy to share with you guys my top 12 kickers and defenses going into the given week. If you guys go ahead and click the like button. That's all we got to do. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much, guys. All right. So let's go ahead and begin by answering questions. Starting off with Jaco, who begins the question streak with saying the following. I have Olave and Shaheed. If Olave plays, is he a start? If he doesn't play, do you feel good about Shaheed? No, I don't feel good about Shaheed in any scenario. Even if Olave doesn't play, I think Rashid Shaheed is still one of those touchdown or bust kind of players within his overall role within that offense. I mean, I would look for an alternative option as of right now in terms of a half PPR scoring format. I have Rashid Shaheed under the assumption that Chris Olave plays. I have Rashid Shaheed at wide receiver 40, so he would still jump up to. I mean, if Olave is out, I could very easily see him jumping to a top 36 standing at wide receiver. But I think he's very similar to a Jahan Dotson, Demarcus Robinson, Gabriel Davis in today's overall game, under the assumption that these are players that need to make big plays down the field. And if they're not given the ample share of opportunity, it's a difficult start within the given week. Thank you. Appreciate it, Jacob. Someone in the chat was asking Saints or Falcons defense. If we can get to, I know there's only about 300 of you in here, but if we can get to 150 likes, more than happy to go ahead and share that. As of right now, I have the Falcons defense going ahead of the Saints. Again, we have to keep an eye on what the weather looks like, but we'll get there once we've kind of gotten about an hour or 2 into the live stream, and we have a little bit of context as to what the weather looks like in Carolina today. Thank you. All right, let's see here. We had a question that came in from Nick Papa Giorgio, who says, start Hill or Goddard? I mean, yeah, if Tyreek Hill suits up, he is in your lineup. I think the same kind of stands for Devon Achane. Like, these are players that have so much potential for upside and they don't need very many touches to be high upside players that if they're active and they're healthy, you're good to go. Now, if this is a start Hill like Taysom Hill or Dallas Goedert question, that changes a little bit of the overall potential there. In a full PPR, on Monday night, I would probably, you know what? I'd probably even just play Taysom Hill there as well. Both Taysom and Tyreek. So I think what you meant was initially Taysom Hill, but this is just a PSA for anybody who has Tyreek Hill. Please play him. In terms of any recent reports, because I see somebody, AJK in the chat was saying anything Tyreek will be good to go. And I think he meant anyone think. It probably autocorrected, but either way. The current reports on Tyreek Hill are just purely game time decisions. So we'll have to wait and see what exactly that transpires to be coming. Thank you for your question, Bob Giorgio. I would go with Taysom. Thank you. Moving on, we had Go Bills question who says, do I start Chris Olave or do I play DeAndre Hopkins in a full PPR? I think it's just safer to play D-Hop, especially considering Chris Olave did not practice a single time this week. He is a game time decision that will probably warm him up prior to the game and at least try to see if he can go. If he's not able to, or if in fact there's a possibility in which he plays, perhaps re-aggravates the injury, I think it's safer to play DeAndre Hopkins, who in my opinion has probably the better matchup, the revenge game, and is getting himself just as much target opportunity. Even though Chris Olave has been an unstoppable machine as of late, I think the upside that you can find from DeAndre Hopkins is comparable, if not better, with an injured Chris Olave. So yeah, I just play D-Hop there. Thank you. We had a question that came in from Cooper. Cooper, thank you very much. Cooper says, David Njoku or Evan Ingram? Between the two of them, I think the target share that Evan Ingram has been able to at least actualize as of late, yeah, I think it's pretty solid. So as of right now, Evan Ingram's a guy coming off a week of which you had what, like 11 receptions on 12 targets, 2 touchdowns. The week prior had himself a touchdown. If the absence of Tyreek Hill is only, sorry, not Tyreek Hill. If the absence, he's on my brain. If the absence of Christian Kirk is only going to open up more utilization of a guy like Evan Ingram within the inline and slot position, I think he is the better of the two. And then the follow-up question is, would I flex the other one over Flowers? I wouldn't. So I would just play Evan Ingram and I would play Flowers. Thank you for your question, Cooper. All right, let's see here. Where are we at? I thought I saw a question in the chat. Eclipse says, why did Zeke rise up in rankings? I think everybody rised up in rankings technically. The reason why Zeke jumped in rankings is because of all the other players yesterday who played, right? Like the only people that were in that conversation next to him, from what I can recall, let me see if I can pull up my own rankings from off my desktop just so I have a reference point. But yeah, it's mainly because of the guys that have already played. Let me see here. So if I look at yesterday's live stream, I had Zeke. Yeah, I had Zeke, right? It was Zeke, and then it went Mixon, Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, and then ETN. So pretty much when you get rid of Mixon, Montgomery, and Jahmyr Gibbs, I mean, yesterday he was at number. Yeah, I mean, there's no difference there. He's good to go. He's literally in the same spot as he was yesterday, number 10. So the idea of him jumping in the rankings from yesterday is technically not true. So yeah, okay. Anyway, moving on. We had a question that came in from, who's next on this list? Here we go. Andrew Kaler sends in a question. Thank you, Andrew. Says in a PPR, no tight end premium. Start 2 between Brandon Cooks, Hollywood Brown, Zay Jones, Romeo Doubs, David Njoku, and Rashid Shaheed. In a PPR, that kind of a format, with Romeo Doubs there, Brandon Cooks. Okay, so let me go to my PPR rankings. The first and foremost player that I would probably go with is David Njoku. And then the following player is between, let me see, where do I have Brandon Cooks and Romeo Doubs? I have Brandon Cooks at 45. I have Romeo Doubs at 47. And then what else do you have? Zay Jones, Hollywood Brown, I don't like. Okay, yeah. So out of the group, I would go with David Njoku and Brandon Cooks. So that's the 1-2 combo. Romeo Doubs is the third man out. But yeah, between those three, those are the two that I prefer. Thank you, Andrew. C. Miles sends in a question. Says, pick 1.5 PPR. Keaton, Zay Jones, Chris Godwin, JSN, or Hollywood Brown. Between the bunch, Chris Godwin, JSN. Let's go to the half PPR rankings. Oops. We have, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Godwin. I don't really trust Keaton Mitchell. I don't really trust the backfield as of late. I mean, a Ravens backfield that had so much fantasy upside in terms of touchdowns as of late has been nullified. And considering it's such a like running back by committee situation, it's tough. Let's see here. Yeah, of the following options you have, C. Miles, I would take Godwin as the play. Thank you. All right, let's see here. Okay, we scrolled down. We had a question that came in from Matthew Wallace. Thank you, Matthew. Let's see where your question ended up. Matthew Wallace. Matthew Wallace's question is Waddle or Jaden Reed in a half PPR? Need some upside after Javonte last night. Yeah, Javonte, that was rough, especially considering he got tackled down at the 1 yard line. That was even worse. And in another game in which Russell Wilson scores a rushing touchdown, yeah, that's a bad scene. I mean, obviously the blowout itself is the primary contributor to his lack of performance because you can't run the ball and you can't get a stable volume of opportunity if you're down 3 touchdowns early in a game, and that's exactly what happened. Legacy game from Jared Goff, and then obviously Sam Laporta has solidified himself as the greatest fantasy rookie tight end of all time after yesterday's performance. Ridiculous, and it's only week 15, right? So it's just some pretty crazy stuff happened yesterday. As for your question as a whole, though, Matthew Wallace, currently on screen, we have half PPR rankings. So between those two, between Waddle and Jaden Reed, I have Waddle at 15, Jaden Reed at 17. I think Waddle only improves in the absence of Tyreek Hill. So between the two, I'll take Waddle as of right now. If anything changes, I'll let you know. But as of right now, I'll take Jalen Waddle. I almost said Jaden Waddle. I'll take Jalen Waddle over Jaden Reed this week. I mean, the thing about Jaden Reed is if he wasn't playing in the slot position, like the majority of his overall snaps, I feel a little bit more confidence about starting him against Tampa Bay secondary. But considering he's a primary slot receiver, his average depth of target has been extremely low each of the last 2 weeks. He has less of an upside. He definitely does score touchdowns, but in comparison to Waddle, I think a little bit of a lesser play. Thank you. Reuven Roberts sends in a question, says, hey, Drew, in a full PPR, Demario Douglas or I think Robinson for my wide receiver 3. I'm assuming you mean like Demarcus Robinson as your wide receiver 3. Demarcus Robinson's, I mean, at least from what we've seen in the last 2 weeks, he's overtaken Tutu Atwell in terms of his overall usage in terms of snaps. Tutu Atwell is going to play this week, but I don't think that plays a huge role. Currently, I have Demarcus Robinson quite literally as, let me look at the full PPR ranking in comparison to Demario Douglas. I know I have him lower just because he's very much so touchdown dependent. So between the two, I have I have Pop Douglas at 34, Demarcus Robinson at 36. So they're next to each other. But currently, if it's a full PPR, I will take Demario Douglas. Thank you. Let's see here really quick. I know many of you are pointing out any questions in regards to weather. Let me see if there's any changes to the weather reports as it currently stands. I don't think anything has changed as of yesterday. I think it's probably stayed relatively similar in terms of the overall projections here. 99% chance of rain in Carolina. We'll keep an eye on that in a couple hours. 70% chance of rain in Cleveland today. We'll keep an eye on that in the upcoming hours. And then that's about it in regards to the morning slate of game. So we'll keep an eye on that as I typically do. Probably an hour from now, I'll go ahead and I'll get tabs on that and see what we're looking at in terms of weather potential. And then at potentially 9 a.m., I'll look at it again. 9:30 a.m., I'll look at it again. And then 10 minutes before kickoff, I'll look at it again just to make sure we're all on the same page and we have an idea as to what the weather looks like, just like we did last week and went in the right direction. Thank you. All right, we had a question that came in from Sal Palumbo. Sal, thank you very much. Says, in a half PPR, should I assume Geno starts and play Lockett or start Gibson, Hollywood, or Ford? In a half PPR, let's see where I have Lockett in comparison. So I have Tyler Lockett. That's my full PPR rankings. Tyler Lockett is there. And Antonio Gibson is ranked higher. So I would just play Antonio Gibson there. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Sal. Moving on to a question from Jerry Mendoza. Thank you, Jerry. It says, full PPR, start Jordan Love or Justin Fields. If Christian Watson was active, I'd feel far more confident about the potential of playing Jordan Love. Um, we'll have to keep an eye on that weather in Cleveland. If the weather is bad enough to where it is going to be a sloppy passing game, I would lean probably in the direction of just firing up Jordan Love there against a pretty advantageous matchup against Tampa Bay secondary. So we'll keep an eye on that. But for right now, if the weather is going to be at least decent to where he can pass the ball consistently, I would prefer to play Justin Fields there going into this week. Thank you. Moving on to John C's question, who says flex Wan'Dale Robinson, Rashid Shaheed, Noah Brown against Laporta team. Okay. Regardless of scoring format, the preferred receiver of the three would be Noah Brown, number one, and then number two, Wan'Dale Robinson, number three, Rashid Shaheed. Thank you, John. Appreciate it. Somebody in the chat said Achane or Zay Flowers. I'd prefer to play Zay Flowers there, even if Achane's active. Thank you. Let's see here. We had a question that came in from John C. Okay, we took care of that. We have Jeremy Morrow. Thank you, Jeremy. Jeremy says, in a full PPR, I lost CJ, as in Stroud, and Justin Herbert. I got Flacco as my quarterback, but my flex and super flex play are for the following players. We have Levis, we have Breece Hall, and we have Ezekiel Elliott. That is an interesting one. Will Levis is tough because we know that if the Houston Texans find any success today, there are going to be multiple Derrick Henry touchdowns. And I think that's probably kind of guaranteed in the overall base of production here. What do I want to do with these three? In a full PPR, Jeremy, I think I play both running backs, to be honest. I'll play one as your starting flex and then one in the super flex. If these two running backs didn't have so much receiving upside, which they both certainly do, they can both very easily catch the ball 5 to potentially 7, 8 times today. If they didn't have that kind of potential for upside, and if maybe it was a 6-point per passing touchdown league, I'd lean towards Levis. But for right now, I'll take both those running backs. Thank you, Jeremy. Appreciate it. Chris Moraga sends in a question. Says, Buenos dias. Full PPR, Godwin or Curtis Samuel. Between the two of them, I prefer Godwin. I know he was dealing with a little bit of a knee injury over the course of this week. He's been dealing with a lot of injuries over the course of this entire season. It was already, said that he's good to go. He is expected to play today. I would prefer him, especially considering, we go back just 2 weeks from now, and the head coach, the offensive coordinator have both publicly stated, hey, we want to get Chris Godwin far more involvement. You go back to last week, that exactly happened with 11 total targets. I think that is going to continue to be the same going into this week. They're going to continue to try to get him a high volume of utilization within the overall week. So I'd prefer him over Curtis Samuel, which again, when we look at that Washington Commanders entire offense, there are just so many receivers that are contributing to this offense. There are like 6 wide receivers in a rotation getting themselves reps. And that obviously is going to continue to dig away at Curtis Samuel's overall potential. So I'll take Godwin there, who's always on the field for a majority of games. River Santiago sends in a question. Thank you, River. Says, with most of my Green Bay wide receivers being beat up, with most of the Green Bay wide receivers being beat up, should I play Romeo Doubs over McBride in the flex? Also, Browns or Chiefs? Okay, so first and foremost, for those of you who are joining us this morning, welcome. If we can get to 250 likes, I'd be more than happy to share the overall rankings in terms of kickers and defenses. Thank you very much. As of right now, I will say that the Chiefs are my number 2 defense, taking on the New England Patriots and their overall offensive efforts. So I will take the Chiefs there over the Browns. If the weather gets a little bit sloppy, there's a potential in which we could consider the Browns. But for right now, I think it's just an easy slate to fire up the Chiefs defense, who's played very well all season in terms of fantasy against one of the lesser offenses in the National Football League, which is the New England Patriots. So I'll take the Chiefs there. As for your prior question, playing Doubs over McBride, in a half PPR, full PPR, I'm fairly certain I have McBride over him in terms of rankings. Let me see here. Where do I have him? Yeah, I have Trey McBride ranked higher. I think it's very difficult for me to rank Trey McBride low, especially considering the potential negative game script on top of the target opportunity he's gotten, averaging 9 targets per game each of the last 4 games with Kyler. It's tough for me to pivot out of that position. I could very easily see Romeo Doubs having himself his best game of the season based on what we saw from Drake London last week. So it's always on the table. I wouldn't say it's out of the realm of possibility, but if we're just balancing out potential opportunity of targets, usage, red zone work, I do prefer Trey McBride, even in a tough matchup. Thank you. Michael Reeves sends in a question. Thank you, Michael. Says, in a full PPR Superflex league, I have Joe Flacco, David Njoku, or Kyler Murray, or Odell Beckham. Okay, so these are two different leagues, I'm assuming. The first one, Flacco or Njoku. Njoku doesn't succeed without Flacco. So I would probably, I'd probably just play Joe Flacco there. I think there's just more potential for upside, because if you get into a situation where Flacco completes touchdowns and it's not to Njoku, you're in a bad situation. But if you are in a situation which Flacco throws the ball in the direction of David Njoku, I think that they both equally benefit, but you're just going to be able to gather far more of the overall potential range of points within that offense, considering you have both, with just starting Flacco. As for your follow-up there, Kyler or Odell Beckham Jr., if I could guarantee that OBJ was going to score a touchdown, I'd be more than happy to fire him up. At this point, I'd probably just play Kyler. I think he's just a significantly better option, or at least a safer option in that circumstance. Thank you. Richie Moreno sends in a question. Let's see where Richie's question ended up. Let's see here. Richie, where's your question? There wasn't anything attached to that, but there is another one. Richie had another question. He said, half PPR, flex 1, OBJ, McBride, Connor, or CEH. Let me see where I have them ranked accordingly. OBJ, McBride, Connor, CEH, huh? Okay, yeah. It goes in the order of McBride, OBJ, Connor, CEH, literally in that order. The way that you have it posted, Richie, is the way that I have it ranked, unironically. Thank you, Richie. Appreciate it. All right, we had another question that came in from Jason. Jason's question is, in a half PPR, flex Zeke, DJ Moore, or Garrett Wilson? Yeah, in a half PPR, I prefer to start Zeke there. He'll get himself his pretty, I would say, consistent share of opportunity in terms of rushing. Probably somewhere between like 12 to 15 rushing attempts in a negative game script. On top of it, will probably get himself a pretty good share of opportunity in terms of targets, and always has the goal line potential work there. The issue that I have with Garrett Wilson, touchdown upside is very limited. And the issue that I have with DJ Moore, even though he's been a really great option, is that if in fact Denzel Ward is active, it does lesser his potential for upside. If Denzel Ward is inactive today and the weather is fine, Jason, I would pivot to playing DJ Moore over Zeke. Thank you. All right, we had a question that came in from Sending It, who says, D-Hop or Evans in a full PPR, who is the safer floor? I would say that the consistency of play that we have witnessed from Mike Evans over the course of this entire season, right, where he has scored 10 receiving touchdowns in the last 12 healthy games he has played. Obviously, last week, only one catch for 8 yards, very underwhelming, but the consistency of play that we have seen from Mike Evans leans me in his direction, right? I mean, it's very difficult for me not to start someone that has been as consistent as Evans over the course of this entire season. They take on the Green Bay Packers, Jair Alexander, sure, but they play a lot of zone coverage. It's not man coverage where they're going to just be trailing and following them from one side to the other if they're motioning over. So I would assume this is going to be a pretty advantageous matchup for the receivers of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and specifically Mike Evans. So if I was going to say who has the safer production, I think the consistency of play that we've witnessed there from Evans makes him the safer play as of right now. Thank you. Stu sends in a question, says, pick one. For my wide receiver 2, we have Rashee Rice, Stephon Diggs, Garrett Wilson, Jalen Waddle. Yeah, it's impossible for me not to suggest Stephon Diggs there. I would much rather, okay, let's just put it this way, right? Not only do I believe that Stephon Diggs is the best play of the 4, but I would much rather lose with Stephon Diggs in my lineup than win with him on my bench. Or potentially have a scenario in which I bench him, he goes for 30, and I look like a clown. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, if that's my team, there's no way I'm not starting, my first, second round pick, Stephon Diggs. I'm just going to fire him up in that circumstance. Just like how many of you were saying yesterday, like, I can't not play Justin Jefferson. I have the same feeling about Stephon Diggs, but it's even more, I have even more conviction about it. All right, so let's see here. I just wanted to check a couple of the reports that are coming out as of some of the insiders for the NFL. Let's see here. Ian Rappaport said something about, okay, so Cameron Wolf, NFL Network, we're expecting Tyreek Hill pregame workout, tested the injury with the ankle within the next hour to determine whether he plays. Okay, cool. Yeah, that was expected. Nothing crazy. All right, as for your follow-up question there, Stu, so besides the Stephon Diggs question, you said hard time trusting Diggs recently. No, I understand that. Trust me, I get it. But if we're going to talk about a game in which just imagine this reality, right? The Buffalo Bills, if I'm not mistaken, let me Let me travel on over to this website just to see what the Vegas odds are as of right now. NFL. Okay, so imagine a reality, okay, where the current. Okay, yeah, listen to this. The total point implicated between the Dallas Cowboys and the Buffalo Bills is 49.5. Imagine if that's the case, and the Buffalo Bills are a 2-point favorite at home. The assumption is that the Buffalo Bills are going to beat, just off of the overall spread in total, that they would beat the Dallas Cowboys today, right? If they're going to do something of that nature, Stephon Diggs is going to have himself a game. We've seen a lot of wide receiver ones, especially as of late, find themselves a lot of success against this Dallas Cowboys defense. So he's fired up in my lineup. And anytime Vegas thinks the Buffalo Bills are going to win at home, or at least have handicapped it to where they're going to win at home against the Cowboys, who are on fire, it's going to be a big game here for Diggs. As for your follow-up question, pick one for the flex: Olave, Thielen, Dobbs. And if Olave doesn't play, then who? Yeah, so Olave would be my suggestion if, in fact, he plays. If he doesn't, I would pivot to playing Romeo Dobbs there. Thank you, Sue. Appreciate it. Bomb sends in a question. Bomb says the following. He says, pick two, Achane, Zeke, or Hall. And why so high on Zeke? Total opportunity share. Look, whenever you're the lone running back in your backfield and you're going to get yourself 15 carries and you're going to get yourself 5 to 7 receptions in a singular game, and you're the goal line back, it's very difficult for me not to potentially expect you to score a lot of fantasy volume. Even in a game in which we're expecting the Kansas City Chiefs to play well as a defense, as an offense, and as a whole, there is still a thing called garbage time. And the Patriots are not going to neglect the usage of Zeke throughout that span. So I expect them to be highly utilized and, of course, for them to find success. And you never know. I mean, if the Patriots have kind of turned a new leaf, I know that the Pittsburgh Steelers victory a couple weeks back isn't the greatest thing, but it's definitely progress for them. Out of the group, yeah. If it's between Achane, Zeke, and Hall, I'm just playing Zeke and Hall. If you want to play Achane, that's fine by me. He always has the potential, but I don't even know if he's going to play by the time we get to kickoff. Colin Smith sends in a question. Says, PPR, if Olave is out, JSN, Chuba Hubbard, or Goddard? That's a really good question. I'm fairly certain I'm going with Chuba there. Let me check my full PPR. Chuba Hubbard. Let's check this. I have Chuba Hubbard. Yeah, okay, so here it is. In my full PPR rankings as of this morning, I have JSN at 52 and Chuba Hubbard at 53, back-to-back. JSN is one spot ahead of him. That's where I would go with. Thank you. I knew it was going to be close. All right, here we go. We had a question that came in from Anthony, who says, in a full PPR, one wide receiver and two flex spots. We have Amari Cooper, Zeke, Dobbs. My bench consists of London, Gibson, Zay, Michael Wilson. Amari, Zeke, and Dobbs. I'm fine with it. I wouldn't change anything. I think Antonio Gibson's the next best play out of the bunch, but I would not play him over the bunch or the potential options you already have rostered. The only thing that I would ever consider is if, in fact, prior to game time, if the weather in Cleveland's a disaster, we could potentially pivot away from Amari Cooper and go towards playing Antonio Gibson in the afternoon slate, but we'll keep an eye on that. But for right now, good to go there, Anthony, in terms of those three starters. As for your follow-up question in terms of defenses, Cleveland, Tennessee, or the LA Rams defense, as it currently stands, where do I have them ranked? I have Cleveland ahead of the 3. I have Cleveland, Tennessee, LA Rams in that exact order. And should I drop Houston's defense? As of right now, for this week, I mean, look, the Houston Texans, who do they take on next week? Texans schedule. They took on the Cleveland next week. Yeah, I would just drop their defense. Thank you. Again, a reminder for those of you who are joining us this morning, welcome, good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. If we can get to 250 likes in regards to defenses and kickers, I'll be more than happy to share with you guys kicker and defensive rankings going into week 15 Sunday. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Outside of that, the rankings on screen are for a half PPR. Again, if you guys are signed up and are current subscribers of Patreon, the rankings have already been posted this morning. If you guys have signed up via Underdog Fantasy between August 1st of 2023 and prior to midnight of yesterday, the rankings have already been sent out to your email associated with your Underdog account. So be sure to check your spam folder and check out those rankings if you guys have already done so via Underdog using code Andrew. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it. All right, let's see here. We had a question that came in from, so after Anthony, we have Jonathan Chetty. Jonathan, where is your question? Jonathan says, in a full PPR, start 2, Walker, Swift, McBride, DJ Moore. Out of the 4, honestly, I'd rather play DJ Moore and McBride. Out of the 4. Those are the 2 that I'd prefer. Thank you. Freddie sends in a question. Freddie says, Your question, my man. Who do you like in terms of defense this week? A banged up Browns defense, the Bears, or the Titans against the Texans? Look, here's the thing. Even a banged up Browns defense still has an advantage upon the Bears offense because they are the Bears offense. Because they're going to find themselves turning over the ball, not protecting Justin Fields at the best of their ability. So as of right now, I still prefer the Browns. It would go Browns, Titans, Bears in that exact order. If the weather in that Browns-Bears game gets a little bit tricky, I could understand potentially playing the Bears defense. I could potentially understand avoiding both and just playing the Titans. But for right now, I have the Browns as the highest. Tony Hernandez sends in a question, says in a half PPR, Andrew, 2 wide receivers and 1 flex. We have Pollard, Diggs, Kupp, Hopkins, and Rice. Yeah, I'd go with Diggs and Kupp, and I'd play Pollard in the flex in a half PPR. Thank you. Appreciate it, Tony. Let's see here. We have a question that came in from, let me scroll back up. Payday, both of your super chats were retracted, just so you're aware. Okay? Just giving you a heads up. Reuven Roberts says, sorry, meant Wan'Dale Robinson earlier. Okay, let me go ahead and check that, Reuven. Where do you? I think your original question was something of the matter of, I think it was Pop Douglas and then Wan'Dale Robinson. Okay, so let's see here. Let's find it. Douglas or Robinson is my wide receiver 3. Got it. Yeah, and in full PPR between those two. Yeah, the rushing usage that Wan'Dale Robinson got last week makes me a little bit more excited about his potential this week. That being said, Demario Douglas is used in a very similar fashion in which he's given rushing attempts, almost nearly every season, or not every season, every week he's been healthy as of late. They're pretty close in my rankings. I think they're both going to be in probably negative game scripts as of right now. I'd probably just play Wan'Dale Robinson there in a full PPR. They're back-to-back in my rankings. That's how it is in a half PPR on screen. So I don't feel generally more confident going one way over the other, but if it was my lineup, I'd just play Wan'Dale today. Let's see here. We had a question that came in from Ashley, who says, do I swap Waddle for ETN considering Tyreek? Do I swap Waddle for ETN? Let's see here. Let's see where I have them in a full PPR. In terms of a full PPR, I have Waddle ahead of ETN. In terms of a half PPR, I have ETN ahead of Waddle. Under the assumption that you play potentially in a half PPR. If in fact, well, actually, forget the scoring format. If Tyreek Hill is out, I'm playing Jalen Waddle over Travis Etienne. If Tyreek Hill is in, I'd probably just roll with Etienne in a half PPR standard, and I'd only ever play Jalen Waddle in a full PPR over Etienne. Thank you, Ashley. Appreciate it. Let's see here. We are very close to surpassing 250 likes, so I'm going to go ahead and open my own stream up and click the like button on that, just so we can try to get there as soon as possible, so I can share with you guys kicker and defensive rankings. I do appreciate it. So I'm 234. So just so if you saw the number, click up there. We had a question from, there literally is just no name attached to it. So it's just it's a black logo, or it's not even a logo. It's just, there's no avatar at all. So question came in. This is the question. Start 2 full PPR, Swift, James Cook, Waddle. I will take James Cook and I will take Waddle there. Thank you. Moving on to Hugh, who says, in first place in my league, thanks to you, what do you think is really, in capital, REALLY, going to happen with Stephon Diggs' decreased volume with Bills, locker room beef? What does it say? What do you think really going on with Stephon Diggs' decreased volume? Yeah, I don't think it's locker room beef. I think this is just kind of what Stephon Diggs does every year. If you guys just go look at the production of someone like Josh Allen, almost every season in the back end of the regular season, he has a little bit of a production dip, and it typically does impact Stephon Diggs. But I think this is a matchup in which, again, they're a 7-6 football team. The Denver Broncos lost last night. The Pittsburgh Steelers lost yesterday. This is a huge opportunity for them to get into that wild card conversation. So they're going to throw everything at the Dallas Cowboys, and first and foremost, it's going to be Stephon Diggs. So I'm not too worried about it. What I really think about the entire situation, what's really going on, is irrelevant. All I care about is that he plays well and he gets his targets. As to what's going on in terms of locker room, I could give a shit. I'll be honest. Let's see here. We had a question that came in from W Mike 1981. Full PPR, pick 3 between Breece Hall, Bijan Robinson, James Cook, Amari Cooper. So Bijan and Breece Hall, I think, are automatic. Between Amari Cooper and James Cook is a little bit of a coin toss. If the weather in Cleveland is solid, and it's not really going to be, I mean, there's currently like a 70% chance of rain. Again, last week, the Ravens game was like an 80 or 90% chance of rain. Didn't really look like it. So if the weather is not a problem, I'll play Amari Cooper there. If it does become a problem prior to kickoff, I'll take James Cook there for the night game. Thank you. Let's see here. Bad Sport sends in a question. Says, full PPR, Swift, Puka, or Waddle. Between the 3, I'd rather play Puka Nacua out of them all. Thank you. Now, I will say, as a caveat, if in fact Tyreek Hill is inactive, I will take Waddle over Puka. Thank you. Question from Grit, who says, half PPR flex, Achane, Flowers, Jaden Reed, Garrett Wilson. Out of the 4 options, I'd go Flowers 1, Garrett Wilson 2, Jaden Reed 3, and Achane 4. So Flowers number 1 in terms of your flex potential play this week. Thank you. All right, we're over 250 likes. I'll go ahead and share kicker and defensive rankings. There you guys go. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate all you guys' continued support. We had a question that came in after Grit from Youngberg4. Young, thank you very much. It says full PPR, 6 points for a touchdown. Do I start Flowers or Olave? 100% play Flowers. 100%. With the utmost of confidence. Especially, look, whenever you have a player of the caliber of Flowers, who has played as well as he has in the absence of Mark Andrews, who has scored 3 touchdowns in the last 3 games without Mark Andrews, and is averaging 10 targets per game throughout those 3 games, it is a really tough position to opt in terms of not playing him against Jacksonville, a top 5 matchup, for someone like Chris Olave, who's dealing with an injury. And again, we don't know if the injury could reignite itself throughout the game and potentially pull him out. The last thing that we want is players getting injured in our lineups. Obviously, yesterday it took place with Michael Pittman Jr. with a concussion, Jamar Chase with the separated shoulder, and of course, Zach Moss with his, I think it was either wrist or forearm injury. Like, Zach Moss was going for probably 30 fantasy points yesterday if he didn't get injured. But, stuff happens. It is what it is. But for right now, for sure, I'm going to play Flowers there. Thank you. Someone in the chat said Aaron Jones or Noah Brown. Yeah, I'd rather play Aaron Jones, especially considering the likelihood is that, AJ Dillon, who broke his thumb on Monday, is not going to be playing. All right, let's see here. Harmea sends in a question, says full PPR flex. Keaton Mitchell, Achane, likely, Zay Jones, JSN. In a full PPR out of those options. Okay, so this is what I'll say. Likely zone J. Okay, so of the following, let me see where I have Zay Jones in this full PPR format. Full PPR, wide receiver, JSN, Zay Jones, I have ahead. Okay, so if in fact Achane is active, do I play Achane? If Achane is active, I'd be willing to play him just for the potential for upside. It is highly risky. And I would probably say it's probably smarter to just play Zay Jones there. So that's the alternative option. If Achane's active and you're fired up on the potential of just trying to break out for upside, you'd play him. Otherwise, roll with Zay Jones. He's the safer prospect. Got himself a high volume of targets last week and the week before in the absence of Christian Kirk. And he'll continue to get himself a pretty good workload now that obviously we're one more week removed from the ankle injury of Trevor Lawrence. So I'd probably just suggest playing Zay Jones there, but if you want to play Achane, it wouldn't bother me. Thank you. Moving on to Matthew Wallace, who had a follow-up question, says, am I crazy for starting Stafford over Angry Mahomes? Angry Mahomes. Angry Kermit. Would I rather... Are you crazy for doing it? No. I don't think so. I think the consistency of play that we have seen from Mahomes being at the level which it has. And when I say consistency, I don't mean that it's great overall play. I just mean like he's going to get himself, if we were lucky, 2 touchdowns, right? And that's what he's presented over the course of this season. In comparison to Stafford, who takes on the best matchup at the quarterback position at home, considering he's been playing on fire, 10 touchdowns the last 3 games, it's tough for me to pivot away from Stafford. I'm all in on that idea of playing him over Angry Mahomes. Thank you. Mizzy sends in a question, says half PPR Puka over DK if Geno is out again. Well, look, here's the thing. You won't know if Geno is out because they play on Monday. So the assumption is that Geno is going to play, considering they do have an extra day and they do play on Monday. If Geno is out, they're pretty much selling the whole season down the drain. I would assume that the reason that they held Geno out last week is because they knew, okay, he's not 100% healthy. We're not going to beat the 49ers. We're going to hold him out. We're going to come back the next week and we're going to try to beat up a hobbled Philadelphia Eagles team at home on our field and, bring out the number 12s and see if we can pull out a victory. So as of right now, I wouldn't play DK over, Puka, but considering we don't have a full designation as of yet, let me see actually. Let me see if there's any new reports in regards to Geno Smith's status. Let's see here. The only thing I see, there's literally a report from 1 minute ago from CBS Sports who says Geno Smith is questionable for Monday night. That's all it says. Okay, we already knew that, obviously. Adam Schefter from an hour ago. Let's see here. What does he say? Adam Schefter an hour ago says the following. With Seahawks, Geno Smith listed as questionable for Monday Night Football due to the groin injury. There's a real chance that Seattle's backup quarterback Drew Lock will start for the Eagles per sources. Okay. I mean, again, that's the most vanilla reporting I've ever seen in my life. No offense. But, obviously, if a guy's questionable to play, there's a chance for the backup to play. Listen, if you're worried about it, play Puka Nacua. Otherwise, I prefer DK. Even if Drew Lock plays, I think DK's a solid option. He wouldn't be ranked higher than Puka, though. I will tell you that. I would forfeit that. He wouldn't be higher ranked than Puka, but he'd still be a pretty solid play within the given week. All right, scrolling down here, we got a question that came in from Jonathan Chetty again. Thank you, Jonathan. And Jonathan's question is the following. He says, full PPR, start 2, Walker, Swift, McBride, DJ Moore. Oh, yeah, we already answered this, right? McBride, DJ Moore. Thank you, Jonathan. Appreciate it. Noah Rab sends it a question. Says, in a non-PPR league, 25 yards is 3 points. Touchdown is 6. Would you play Hall or Achane? 25 yards is 3 points. That honestly just helps. Okay. Yeah, I'd rather just play Hall. I'd rather take the healthy running back in a game in which he'll probably catch the ball 6-7 times, to be honest, and be able to get himself a lot of yards after the catch. And you never know. They may be able to run the ball a little bit today. So, yeah, I'll take Hall there. Michael Ortiz says, in a full PPR, 1 flex, Ridley, Cooper, Connor, or CEH. In a full PPR, I would like to play Amari Cooper. If he is not at a full capacity going into this weekend's game, or sorry, if the weather is not great and it's going to limit his full overall capacity, I would then pivot to Ridley. But for right now, I would assume that in a couple hours, once we check the weather live from Cleveland, it'll be fine for him to be a solid play. So I'm leaning towards Amari Cooper in that circumstance. Thank you. Let's see here. Where are we at? Let's scroll back up here. After Noah's question and Michael Ortiz, we have Michael Amato. Says, morning, Andrew. In a 12-team full PPR league, Isaiah Likely or Drake London in the flex. Okay, so as it currently stands, from what I read yesterday, we're expected to see 2 inches of rain in Carolina. So if it's going to be an Omega rain game, again, we'll keep an eye on it prior to kickoff. If it's going to be an Omega rain game, there's a reason why I've ranked Drake London and Adam Thielen as low as I have. I kept them on the top 36 list just in case they were going to play. I'll readjust it and I'll move them back up to where they originally were. But for right now, if it's going to be a rain game, I'd play Isaiah Likely against the Jaguars. As for your follow-up, I feel like the Falcons are going to run it 40 times in bad weather. They certainly are. If it's a bad weather game, forget playing London. It's going to be Tyler Algier, Bijan Robinson, Cordero Patterson, and of course, what's his name? Desmond Ridder running the ball. Thank you. Payday sends in a question, says, Jerome Ford or Antonio Gibson? I'll take Antonio Gibson this week. Half PPR, full PPR, and even in the standard league. Thank you. Let's see here. We had a question that came in from Cameron Kaplan. Thank you, Cameron. Says, if weather looks bad, pivot from Flacco to Kyler. Yes. Yeah. I'd be more than comfortable doing so. Let me just go back to my quarterback and tight end rankings just so I can leverage this. Flacco's at 14. Kyler's at 15. If the weather in Cleveland is bad enough, yes, I would move Flacco below Kyler. Thank you. Let's see here. Twisted Folk sends in a question. Says, in a full PPR, I have Elliott/Reed in the flex potentially. Michael Pittman Jr. and Jamar Chase this week. Yeah, that's tough. You had both wide receivers that got injured in the early slate of games there. That's crazy. All right, so what else do you have on roster? You have McBride slash Njoku, Purdy, and Stafford are my other choices. But I see rankings. Okay, cool. Between Ezekiel Elliott and Jaden Reed in a full PPR, let me see where I have Reed in comparison. Yeah, I look. So the separation between Zeke and Reed is not very much. The only thing that gives Zeke the advantage is the fact that he'll probably catch the ball just as many times as Jaden Reed does. Like Jaden Reed last week had what 8 receptions, Zeke had 7. The week prior to that, I would actually say the full like last 6 performances we have seen from Jaden Reed typically consist of like 4 to 5 catches per week. I think Zeke is not only just capable of doing that on his own right, but he's very capable of out receiving him in terms of yardage, touchdown opportunity, probably on a very similar basis. Jaden Reed obviously getting himself a couple rushing touchdowns as of late, which keeps him, within the mix. But yeah, I'll take Zeke there if it's my team. Thank you. We had a question from Big Al 9 who says Flacco, Murray, or Geno Smith. Ooh, yeah. So consider it. Okay. Here we go. You ready? Because Geno is questionable, you would need to have Drew Lock available for pivot. Okay. If he is not available for pivot, you just play Flacco or Murray. Otherwise, you could take the risk and go for it. I would take the risk. I expect Geno Smith to play tomorrow. If he doesn't play tomorrow, they are not making a playoff run. I would assume at least. Follow-up question. If Olave doesn't play, Brandon Cooks or London in a standard. I'd rather play Brandon Cooks over London in a standard there, Big Al. Thank you. Okay. We had a question from Flipside Fishing who says, thanks for all the help this season. You've been a huge help. I need you to pick 3 wide receivers. I have Lamb, Olave, Waddle, and Jaden Reed. I also need to pick a tight end between Kincaid and Likely. Thanks, bro. Okay. So thank you, Flipside. Appreciate it. Between the 4 wide receivers you have, obviously, I think Lamb is the automatic start there. Between Olave, Waddle, and Reed, if in fact we're in a, well, yeah, I would say that even if Chris Olave is active, I would just much rather play the other 2 wide receivers because I do believe that they have just as much upside and they're healthy. So I'd rather just play Lamb, Waddle, Reed, fire those 3 up, leave Olave on the bench, and then as for Likely and Kincaid, I'll take Isaiah Likely this week. Thank you. Moving on, we had a question that came in from Beans and Frank. Thank you. Appreciate that, man. Let's see here. Someone in the chat was saying, Coach B was saying, am I crazy for wanting to start Chigoziem Okonkwo over Tyler Conklin? No, you're not crazy. If I'm not mistaken, in terms of my rankings, Chigoziem Okonkwo is just outside of the top conversation. So if we were to move Kyle Pitts out of this list, assuming weather is a disaster, Chigoziem Okonkwo would be in that conversation. So he's literally back to back with Conklin. I don't think you're crazy for considering it or even doing it. Let's hear. Berserk Meta World says full PPR, Achane as my flex. Afraid of not playing or being limited. Should I replace with Dalton Kincaid or Cole Kmet? If by the time we get to kickoff, if he's inactive, the decision is made for you. You play Kincaid there. If he is active still in a full PPR, would we trust it? At this point, I don't see why they would make him an active participant unless they planned on using him. So if he's active, he's in my lineup. If he's not, obviously you just play Kincaid. Thank you, Berserk. Appreciate it. Moving on to Michael Barton. Thank you, Michael. Says in a 12-team full PPR league, Antonio Gibson or Jaden Reed. Tough decision, playoffs, baby. Also, Chuba Hubbard or Hopkins. In a full PPR, I think Hopkins over Chuba is the far easier of the 2, considering Chuba Hubbard's probably not going to catch the ball much if he ever does at all today, and also he takes on a pretty tough run stop defense that obviously has prevented a single running back from scoring a touchdown against them all season long. So Hopkins is the play there. Now, as for Antonio Gibson and Jaden Reed full PPR, let me see where I have Antonio Gibson accordingly. So I have Jaden Reed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ranks ahead of Antonio Gibson in a full PPR. Pretty close, but I'll take Reed there. Thank you. After Michael Barton's question, we had one that came in from Luis Alcantar. Thank you, Luis. Appreciate it. Says, I'm on bye week. Would you stash Jets, Rams, Bears, Bills defense for week 16, 17? Okay. Give me a second. Let me look at their schedules real quick. Okay, let's see here. So, what are the teams that you're referencing to really quickly? Let me just check. So, you're talking about, let me actually copy paste this just so I can take it over to my other screen and look at the teams that are. So, we're looking for Jets, copy paste. We're looking for Rams, copy paste. We're looking for Bears and Bills. Okay. So, of the following, in week 16 and 17, the Jets get Washington and Cleveland. The Rams get New Orleans and the Giants. The Buffalo Bills get LA. Yeah, I'll take the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills take on the LA Chargers and the New England Patriots. Those are that's the matchups I want to play going forward. So that's who I would stash, the Buffalo Bills. Thank you, Luis. Enemies within says half PPR, Garrett Wilson or Aaron Jones. Let me check who I have ranked higher. I believe it's going to be Aaron Jones slightly. Let's see here. Aaron Jones. No, I don't even have. Where is he? No, that's full PPR. That's full PPR, right? Yeah, that's full PPR. Let's go to half. Ooh, okay, let's see. Where do I have him? Okay, so yeah, this is where I have it. So under the assumption, yeah, that's tough. I have Garrett Wilson ranked higher. If Aaron Jones has AJ Dillon out for sure, guaranteed, he'd be a little bit higher, but I still have him ranked lower than Garrett Wilson as of this week. Thank you. Blind sends in a question, says play Chris Olave if he clears, Purdy or Josh Allen? Question mark. Olave plays if he clears, and okay, so if he clears, I have him ranked on screen. That's where I would potentially play him. So as of right now, we'll leave it as such. But if he doesn't clear, obviously pivot to whatever is your best available. As for Purdy and Josh Allen's rushing upside, I think it's just far too valuable not to play him in comparison to Purdy. And he's just, yeah, he's implicated to score a pretty high volume of points. And for them to be the favorite today, I would assume that Josh Allen has a pretty good game. Let's see here. What did I see in the chat that I wanted to address? What is that? No, we're good there. Okay, cool. We had a question that came in from Devin. Devin, thank you very much. It says Zay Jones or Romeo Doubs. Between the two, I'd rather play Romeo Doubs. Yeah, the targets of Zay Jones as of late have been pretty nice. I just don't see it as an easy matchup against the Baltimore Ravens. So between the two, I will take Romeo Doubs in the more advantageous matchup, especially considering Carlton Davis, the primary starting corner of that secondary for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, is already out this week. CZA sends in a question. Thank you, CZA. Says, PPR. Flex options are Njoku, Jaden Reed, Antonio Gibson. Okay, between the three, let's see who I have ranked higher in a half PPR. Jaden Reed is there. Antonio Gibson's there. And Njoku is there. Yeah. Jaden Reed 1. Antonio Gibson is... Antonio Gibson's 2. And David Njoku is 3. Thank you. Also, who has a higher ceiling? Kyler or Stafford in a 4-point per passing league? It is Stafford. Kyler... Again, has such a difficult matchup against San Francisco. I do not believe he has a higher upside. Thank you. K. Pereira sends in a question, says standard league. If Olave is out, JSN, Shaheed, Zay Jones, or Curtis Samuel. If, in fact, Olave is out, I would play Zay Jones there. Thank you. Lethal Jake says London or Godwin or Curtis Samuel today in a PPR. I'll take Godwin number 1. Yeah, Godwin's number 1. In a full PPR, Curtis Samuel 2. Number 3 is Drake London. I think someone was saying something about why isn't Younghoe Koo ranked? It's going to be raining cats and dogs in Carolina. I think that was what I was referring to earlier in terms of one of the questions I wanted to address in the chat. Okay, we had a question that came in from Marvin Lewis. Thank you, Marvin. It says JSN, McBride, Samuel in my flex standard league. I'll take McBride there, assuming Samuel's Curtis and not Debo. Thank you. Let's see here. Cassius sends in a question. Thank you, Cassius. Says, 1 tight end, 1 flex. McBride, Ingram, Reed. Pick 2. Thank you. McBride, Ingram, Reed. I think regardless of... This one's tough. Where do I have Ingram in comparison? Let's see here. Where is Evan Ingram? Evan Ingram's here. Yeah, as of right now, I have it as Reed and McBride. Thank you, Cassius. Lock Screen Gaming says Drake London, Romeo Dobbs, Rashid Shaheed, or Devon Achane. Between the bunch, if it's like a half PPR, full PPR, if Achane's active, I'd probably roll with him. If not, I go with Romeo Dobbs there. Lock Screen. Thank you. If you want the safer play, just to get a safe volume of points, you play Dobbs. You don't even risk it with Achane. Ramblin' Man says bench 1. Smith, Swift, or Hall. Between the... crazy for leaning towards Hall. Yeah, I'd rather bench Swift, to be honest. I'd rather Swift kind of prove it rather than me sitting Breece Hall, who's kind of been pretty consistent as of late. Like, Breece Hall is like 10 points minimum, 20 points upside, right? Like, and I think the presence of Zach Wilson in comparison to Tim Boyle as of late, I mean, there's going to be a huge difference in terms of the production of this offense last time in comparison to which they took on the Miami Dolphins on that Friday game. Actually, it wasn't even a night game. It's Friday afternoon in New York. I think it's going to be a clean weather game. I think I'd probably just rather play Devontae Smith and Hall there. Thank you. If it's a standard league, I'll probably play both running backs, but in a half full PPR, it's Smith and Hall. Thank you. James King says, Achane if healthy or Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Yeah, if Achane's healthy, I don't mind rolling with him. The only issue is, so here's my thought process, right? Considering they have Raheem Mostert, they have Jeff Wilson Jr., there is no necessity for this team to keep Devon Achane active unless they were going to utilize him and they believe he is healthy. There isn't any logic, especially for a team that is 9-3, right? If I'm not mistaken, let's see here. NFL standings. I believe they're a 9-3 football team. They're a 9-4 football team. There you go, because they lost on Monday. Sorry. They're a 9-4 football team. They're going to make the playoffs. There is no necessity for them to activate Achane unless they believe he's healthy. And the only reason he missed practice last week is because they wanted to be precautious with his overall usage throughout the week and get him prepared for Sunday's game. So if he's active, he's in my lineup because of that. Because where's the logic for him being active if they're not going to utilize him? Might as well just give him the day off and have him rest and prepare himself to return from his injury in the coming weeks. I understand the potential of playing Edwards-Helaire and the idea that if in fact they take an early lead, it could be a solid play. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm sitting on the Achane fence. As for your other question, also Kincaid or McBride, I'll take McBride. Thank you. Okay, for those of you who are joining us this morning, welcome, good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Again, the rankings that are to the right side of the screen are up to date as of this morning. Top 4 priority positions. Again, we are still not 100% certain as to the official rankings as of yet because we're still waiting on the word as to whether or not guys like Achane, Tyreek Hill, Chris Olave are going to be active today. We also have, besides quarterback and tight end rankings, we also have kicker and defense there for those of you guys who want to go ahead and check those out. If you guys appreciate the content and, of course, the rankings that I provide every single weekend and every Sunday, do me a favor, click the like button down below. It's greatly appreciated. I try to help you guys to the best of my ability. I can't be 100% accurate because it's impossible, but I try my very best to do as much research as possible to provide you guys the best rankings that I can. You know, some things are just out of our control in terms of variables, but I try to contain as much of the variables as I can within the overall potential projections that I put forth to try to, put up the best overall results. So I appreciate you guys continuing the support, and I hope I can try to get us as many victories as possible this week so we can advance and try to capture a championship. Thank you guys. All right, so we had a question that came in from Juan Fonseca. Juan's question is, Andrew, I'm in a quandary on who to play. We have Murray or Trevor Lawrence. I lost Pittman Jr. yesterday. I'm the second seed in a half PPR. Whew. Second seed and you don't have a bye week. That's rough. Between Murray and Trevor Lawrence, they both are playing against solid defenses. I just trust Trevor Lawrence more, honestly. I think that Trevor Lawrence has just as much touchdown upside on the ground as a guy like Kyler Murray. I think he's associated with a better team and a better offense overall. And another week separated from that ankle injury. I mean, he threw 3 touchdowns against one of the best secondaries and defenses in the league last week in Cleveland. I would assume that Trevor Lawrence, another week separated from this injury at home, at a healthy spot, is for sure the better play than Kyler this week. So that's what I would take, or that's what I would at least suggest as of right now, Juan. Thank you. All right, Owick Witt sends in a question. Says, where is the Dallas Cowboys defense? I picked up the Titans. Dallas Cowboys defense is not ranked for a reason, right? Or unless they are ranked. They are not ranked for a reason. They play against the Buffalo Bills. Unless they're going to get a pick six from the one and only Ron Bland, I would venture to say that the Titans are the better play, taking on Case Keenum as their starting quarterback. So yeah, I think the Titans are a pretty solid play. Now the Titans defense, I will say they're a little bit banged up, but still, yeah, I'll take the I'll take the Titans there pretty comfortably. Bossa B says standard league, flex Chuba Hubbard in the weather or Shaheed. I'd rather play Chuba Hubbard in the weather because there's an implication that in the weather there's even more of an upside for rushing. He's already gotten himself what I would say 23 and 25 rushing attempts the last two games in after the coaching change. Like he's gonna get himself another 20 rushing attempt game. If he scores a touchdown, even better. Let's see here. Where are we at? Excellence 1906 says Ridley or Cooks in a full PPR. Honestly, I think I'd rather just play Cooks. I like Ridley a lot. You guys know me, but I don't honestly think against the Dallas. Sorry, I don't honestly believe that taking on the Baltimore Ravens, it is the most advantageous matchup for him going to the given week. I'd rather just play the wide receiver that, as of late, outside of the games in which he's played the Philadelphia Eagles, has been a touchdown provider and someone that down in the red zone has been definitely a huge option within this offense. So I'll lean towards playing Cooks. All right, let's see here. We had a question that came in. Man, why does my shoulder hurt? All of a sudden. Flotation Swag says, check X / Twitter. Might flex Hill over if Olave is out. Let me check here. Okay, what did you send me? Let me update here. Okay, so what do we got here? So you had Justin Jefferson yesterday. He had pretty solid points for full PPR, of course. Thank goodness. Outside of that, you have Carl Levis. You're fine there. Singletary, Achane. Yep, you're good to go. Stephon Diggs, Odell Beckham, George Kittle, Chris Olave. If you were not to play Olave, the alternatives are Romeo Doubs, Taysom Hill. I'd probably play Doubs considering it's a full PPR. I could understand the Taysom Hill play. Like, this is my thought process, right? Like, Taysom Hill, I think a pretty solid week from him is like 12 fantasy points, 60 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown. Maybe he catches one or two passes. Maybe if, in fact, Olave is out. But I think that's his like baseline of production, like 12, 13, 14 points. I believe, or I would assume that Romeo Doubs in the absence of Christian Watson, especially taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the absence of Carlton Davis, should be the better play in a full PPR. But I could justify, if assuming again, Chris Olave is out and Taysom Hill finds the end zone, he could be a comparable play, but I would prefer to play Romeo Doubs. But yeah, again, if you want to fire him up, I don't have a problem with it. Thank you. Rob K sends in a question. Rob says, in a full PPR, pick one in the flex. We have Noah Brown, Taysom Hill, Jerick McKinnon, Jeff Wilson Jr., Deontay Foreman, and or Demario Douglas. Need a safe play. Okay, so if we need a safe play out of these options in a full PPR, I think it's probably Demario Douglas or Noah Brown. I'd probably say it's Demario. Like, the safest play in a full PPR is probably Demario Douglas. I think Deontay Foreman is very much a touchdown dependent. I think Jeff Wilson, even in the absence of Achane, is like in a full PPR, maybe 8 points. Jerick McKinnon is touchdown dependent. Taysom Hill's touchdown dependent. Noah Brown and Demario Douglas in a full PPR can get themselves their receptions and yards, be solid 10 to 12 point plays, I think, in their overall efforts. 5 catches for 50 yards is not out of the realm of possibility. So for right now, I'd probably lean towards playing Demario in a full PPR there. Rob, thank you. W. White 1981 says half PPR, pick 4 out of the following: Rashad White, Etienne, Ayuk, Puka, Tyreek, Brees, and Waddle. Looking for the least risk. Guillotine League, huh? Okay, that's why you've got such a monster roster. You've been just picking off players from these other teams. Okay, so you want the least amount of risk. I think Ayuk has provided a lot of consistency and is probably one of the safer plays of the bunch. So has Rashad White. So those are like 2 of the most consistent options. Outside of these potential players, I would say I'd probably go with, I want to play Tyreek Hill. If he's active, I would fire him up. I think he's too difficult not to play. And I understand that there's risk implicated with his overall potential within the given week, but he's a pretty durable player. Like, even in the injury last week, still came back in the game and was running routes full speed. Sure, he didn't get targeted on those routes, but I would assume that he's ready to go. So I'd go with White, Ayuk, Tyreek Hill, and because it's a half PPR, it's really just between Puka and ETN at that point. Let me see who I've ranked higher. Puka is there. I have him ahead of ETN in a half PPR. I would go in that direction. Thank you, W. White. Bug Catch says ETN or Devontae Smith in a full PPR. Let me check. Full PPR. Smith. All right. So I have Devontae Smith literally one spot ahead of ETN. I have Devontae Smith as my number 27, and I have ETN as my number 28. I'm assuming that the quote-unquote illness that was reported from, the report of, Jalen Hurts, was sick on Saturday. I'm going to assume they'll get some Pedialyte in the system. They'll get him, an IV just to get him rehydrated. I think he'll be fine by Monday. We'll be okay there. Pretty advantageous matchup. I'll go with Devontae Smith in a full PPR. Thank you. Daniel B says, Achane, Swift, or Elliott need 20 points or close to it. I can't guarantee you 20 points with any of those three, but if I'm going to play one, I'm playing Zeke. Thank you. Let's see here. We had a question that came in from Jonathan Del Angel, who says, full PPR, Aaron Jones, Tyler Lockett, or Romeo Dobbs. Between the three, full PPR. Let's see. Where's Lockett? So Lockett's there. He is ahead of Aaron Jones, and he is ahead of Romeo Dobbs. So I go with Tyler Lockett there. Now, I will preface, if in fact, well, you know what? Even if Geno Smith is inactive tomorrow, Drew Lock played pretty well with Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett was a pretty solid play last week. So yeah, I'll still take Tyler Lockett there. Hoping, of course, fingers crossed that Geno Smith is going to play. K Pereira sends in another follow-up question. Says, forgot about Brandon Cooks or Zay Jones. Okay, between the two of them, I'd rather have Brandon Cooks. Thank you. Superfish says, is Bijan okay with cats and dogs or play HN? Yeah, with cats and dogs, I think it only helps Bijan because it just enforces that Arthur Smith has to run the ball the entire game. And considering the fact that, of course, the Carolina Panthers are not a good run stop defense, it is going to let the Atlanta Falcons play the game that they want to play, which is run the ball, dominate the clock, impose their will with their one of the best offensive lines in the National Football League, and just dominate that front seven of the Carolina Panthers. So I think this helps Bijan. So I would play him over HN. Thank you, Superfish. Appreciate it. Luke Fan says Tua or Flacco with weather / injuries. Okay, so if in fact Tyreek Hill's playing, and that's my assumption that he does play, I'm playing Tua. If Tyreek Hill is out and the weather is fine in Cleveland, I would play Flacco over Tua. Follow up to that. If Tyreek Hill is out and the weather is disastrous in Cleveland, I play Tua. So again, very, different situations. If Tyreek's in, you play Tua. If he's out, depending on weather, bad weather, you go with Tua. Good weather, you go with Flacco. Thank you. Chris All-In sends in a question, says full PPR, Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, Calvin Ridley. I'll take Derrick Henry number 1, Alvin Kamara 2, Calvin Ridley 3. Thank you. Richard Aziz says Gabe Davis, Gus Edwards, Zach Charbonnet, Rashid Shaheed. If I'm going to start one, legitimately, if it's my team, I'm not playing Gus Edwards. I'm not playing Rashid Shaheed. It's between Charbonnet and it's between Gabe Davis. And I would much rather take the absolute risk of Gabe Davis than play a backup running back that is maybe going to get me 7 or 8 points. So I would say maybe as in that's the best case scenario. So right now, if it's me, I'm playing Gabe Davis and I'm doing so with a smile because I'm a crazy son of a gun. But that's my suggestion. If Olave is out, I think the next best play is Shaheed. And I probably even have him ranked higher. Yeah, I would have him ranked higher than Gabe Davis in the absence of Olave. So I'd be okay with the Shaheed play, but I'm feeling I'm feeling crazy enough to consider Gabe Davis there as an option. Z1 Spangler says, how do you start Sam Howell over Justin Fields? How? Very easily. You just, depending on what, I guess format you're playing on, whether it's like ESPN, Yahoo, NFL.com, Sleeper, you go next to their name, you click the little position next to them, and then, or you go like roster swap, you click on it, then you just scroll down and you click Sam Howell, or you click the bench, and then you grab Sam Howell and you just throw him in your lineup, just real quickly. I think it's pretty easy. I know you're joking. I know you're asking, like, why would I rank Sam Howell ahead of Justin Fields? I understand the question. The weather in Cleveland doesn't look like it's going to be great, and the expectation is that Denzel Ward is going to be active, which will primarily lock down potential upside of DJ Moore. So if that is going to be the case, if we're going to have bad weather and a lockdown DJ Moore potentially with Denzel Ward potentially active, we'll have to wait and see whether that's the case. I do prefer Sam Howell, who's had himself 4 rushing touchdowns in the last 3 games and is typically going to throw the ball 40 plus times a game and going to continue to score himself a high volume of points in negative game scripts. So if we're talking about consistency of play, Sam Howell has provided that. We're talking about upside, Sam Howell has provided that. He's the better quarterback of the two for fantasy purposes. Let's see here. We had a question that came in from Dior Kev. Dior says, in a full PPR, I have Hill, DJ Moore, and Rashee Rice. Okay, cool. Is it possible? Okay, in the possible circumstances for today, who should I play? I mean, as of right now, if Tyreek Hill's active, I would assume he's healthy and he's ready to go. Again, I think the same logic kind of exists for Tyreek Hill that exists with Achane, right? Like, they are not pressed to have to play him today. They're playing against the Jets. Even if they lose today and they go to 9-5 record, sure, they have a less of an opportunity of getting the number 1 seed, but they're looking to capture a Super Bowl, not beat the Jets in Week 15. So the only reason I would assume that Tyreek Hill, is in a starting position and is playing today is because they feel and he feels confident enough with the ankle to be ready to go. And of course, like someone said in the chat, Mike was saying 2K Tyreek has to play. Exactly. He's going for 2,000 yards. I expect him to be on, to be on his stuff. Now, in a full PPR, if Denzel Ward is active, I will take Rashee Rice over DJ Moore. If he's not active, I'll just play DJ Moore, assuming the weather's clean. If the weather's not clean, we pivot back to Rice. Thank you. Chris Johnson sends in a question, says, Taysom Hill. I look at T. Hill, and I always think Tyreek Hill first and foremost. T. Hill as in Taysom Hill or McBride. Between the two, I'll take McBride. Thank you. As for your follow-up question, Saints or Falcons defense, I'll take the Falcons in the weather. Again, let me go ahead and, the rankings are on screen in terms of kicker and defense. I'll go ahead and transition back to quarterback and tight end for those of you guys who need it. Thank you. Let's see here. We had a question from Dilo in the chat. Thank you, Dilo. Appreciate it. It says full PPR, pick one. Spears, Clyde, Pitts, or Demarcus Robinson. Between those 4, I'll take Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Thank you, Dilo. Appreciate it. Let's see here. I think we've caught up, right? We caught up on Super Chats. Awesome. Now I can answer questions in the live chat. I do appreciate you guys being patient with that. Fernando says AJ Dillon isn't expected to play. Yeah, that was the assumption. That's why I don't have him ranked. So hopefully, for those of you who have Aaron Jones, you feel a little bit more confident in his overall potential for playing. Earlier yesterday, besides like the Miami Dolphins who elevated Darrington Evans off their practice squad, which gives me the indication that most likely Achane doesn't play. The Green Bay Packers did the same. They elevated Kenyon Drake off the practice squad to the active roster because I'm assuming AJ Dillon's probably not going to go today. Broken thumb on Monday on the right hand. How are you going to cover the ball if if someone puts a helmet on it, you're just pretty much cooked. And he can't even catch the ball, so he's not going to be getting much utilization in terms of that overall capacity. We had a question that came in from AC who says Lockett or Evan Ingram. Interesting. What's the scoring format? Full PPR. Lockett or Evan Ingram? I have Evan Ingram ranked higher in a full PPR. Thank you. As for question that came in from Crooked Soul, who says starting Puka, Flowers, and Jaden Reed in the flex. I have Ridley, Cooks, Hubbard, and London on my bench. Would you swap any of these players in a full PPR? No, I would keep it as is. You got the 3 best in your lineup ready to go there, Crooked. Thank you, appreciate it. Let's see here. We had a question that came in from Vinny. Vinny, thank you very much. Vinny says Gibson, Ford, OBJ, full PPR start 2. If I'm starting 2 of the 3, I'll play Gibson and OBJ. Thank you. Omar G says Pop Douglas, Kareem Hunt, or Sharbo. Between the 3 and a full PPR, I will take Pop Douglas. Thank you. Eric Patterson in the chat says Chris Olave is out. That is official. Chris Olave is not active today. Good to go. Okay, so I got to go change some lineups. Give me a moment, everybody. Andrew's got to go pick some lineups, and then I'll go ahead and I'll update the rankings on screen. But I got to make sure that my lineups are good to go because I have Olave in a pretty fair amount of places. Now, Yahoo doesn't have him out, but I did see the same report, so I can't put him on my IR yet, which is unfortunate, which means I cannot make any potential swaps here. But yeah, according to Nick Underhill, who has 91,000 followers on Twitter, so I would assume he knows what he's talking about. I'd assume. Maybe he doesn't. He says Chris Olave's out today. Hope is that he'll play next week against the Rams. So we'll see. I will adjust my lineup when I get there. But again, he needs to be changed on my Yahoo. Let me see. Is he changed on Sleeper yet? Maybe not. Because I have a couple Olaves there as well. Okay, let's see here. So we had a question that came in. By the way, Eric Patterson, let me thank you first and foremost for letting me know that. Appreciate it. Gio Ortiz sends in a question. Says DeAndre Hopkins. It says Do Hopkins 11. Why? Do Hopkins? Oh, Dustin Hopkins. I'm about to say. I was like, what the heck? Which kicker has the best weather? Which kicker has the best weather? Anybody who plays indoors. So the reason why I have specifically, if you guys look at the rankings, so I currently have Cairo Santos at 5, right? I have no clue whether or not it's going to rain. Tyler Bass at number 6. I have no clue whether it's going to rain. We're going to know in about, I check at 9 a.m. So in about 45 minutes, I will check. But, in terms of Brandon Aubrey, we don't know if it's going to rain in Buffalo. It could. Justin Tucker plays in Florida, in Jacksonville, probably solid weather. Lucas plays indoors in LA today, which is pretty good. Jason Sanders plays at home. Could rain in Florida. I would doubt that's going to be the case. Moody plays. Does he play in a stadium indoors? I don't know. But Lucas right here, indoor stadium, high scoring offense, pretty good overall play as of late. Gio, thank you. We had a question that came in from Michael H, who says Logan or Schultz. Logan or Schultz, Logan Thomas or Dalton Schultz. As of right now, considering it's Case Keenum, I'd rather just play Logan Thomas in the better matchup. Thank you. Let's see here. What do we have? Jesse sends in a question. Thank you, Jesse. Appreciate it. Says PPR, I need a wide receiver and a flex. Amari Cooper, Zay Jones, Devon Achane. Oh, no, that's not Zay Jones. That's Zay Flowers. Apologies. Amari Cooper, Zay Flowers, Achane Douglas. The wide receiver that I would suggest is playing Zay Flowers. The flex that I would suggest, assuming the weather in Cleveland is good to go, is Amari Cooper. If it's not good to go, then we pivot to Achane. If Achane doesn't play, we pivot to Demario Douglas. Okay, cool. But Zay Flowers is for sure the constant as the wide receiver 1. Amari Cooper is the current flex, and we'll have to see how it kind of transpires as we go forward. Marcus Pearson says Yahoo is usually slow by like 10 to 30 minutes. Yeah, I'll just wait. That's why I'm not stressing about it. We've got a lot of time before kickoff, so we're chilling. Let's see here. Olave is out. What does that mean with Shahid's ranking? Yeah, let me go ahead and adjust my rankings really quickly. I'm gonna go ahead and minimize a couple things on the screen just so I can open up my Photoshop again and just make a little bit of an adjustment here in terms of taking Olave off the screen so that no one's confused in terms of his overall ranking. As for Shahid, I mean, he moves up. That's a given. Is he like the most promising play? No. But it helps him for sure. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's move Olave out of here. Boom, bang. Half PPR. I'd probably just move it. This is what I'd probably do. I'm going to actually check something really quickly. I'm going to travel to Twitter and see how the weather looks like in Carolina. If we have anybody in the chat who lives in Carolina, do me a favor and shoot me a DM on Twitter and let me know how the weather looks over there near the stadium. What is it? Falcons at Panthers. I think that's the typical. Let's see here. What does the weather look like right now? I'm looking at a full screen. A little bit of overcast. That's for sure. If it doesn't rain there, I will be legitimately surprised. That it looks like as much of a weather game as. I mean, the ponchos are out. It's not raining currently, but it could get there. We'll see. But for right now, I'll do something like this to where, in case of weather, I'm gonna move these two to the very bottom of the list. Okay. So let me adjust these rankings real quick. Let's move. No, I need number 19. Boom. Okay. So let's move these guys here. Gary Wilson's still 18, right? Yeah, good. Okay. And then let me do this as well. Again, for those of you who are joining us this morning, as of right now, I'm just updating rankings via Photoshop just to remove the one and only Chris Olave out of the conversation. Where is it? Is this QB tight end? This is QB tight end. So let's go ahead and save that. Boom. Good to go. And then I need to adjust the rankings for the other slide. So let's remove kicker. Let's add kicker defense real quick. Boom. Let's get rid of this. Boom. Okay. File, save as, copy, JPEG. And we'll do it to this. Boom, save. Okay. So that should be done. So the rankings on screen should be up to date. So we have removed Chris Olave from the equation. We've moved up Alvin Kamara one spot. I would assume he gets a little bit more of a trickle of opportunity there. I think Taysom Hill's role probably stays the same in terms of his potential for upside. And then Rashid Shaheed is into the top 36 conversation. Okay. I mean, he is literally the only wide receiver that I could potentially trust within that offense. I will not trust any sort of potential from A.T. Perry. Okay. Cool. We're good to go. Rankings are up to date. Rashid Shaheed's at number 31. Thank you. Okay. So let me go back to answering a couple more of these questions. I do appreciate you guys' patience. If you guys haven't yet already, do me a favor, click the like button. It does help a lot. Thank you. All right. So we had a question that came in from, we took care of that one. Daniel sends in a question, says, ETN or Puka Nacua in a half PPR. I'm starting Kyron Williams already. Cool. So of the following options, let's see here. If you have ETN, and then you have, there it is, or Puka Nacua. I have Puka ranked higher in a half PPR. Thank you. Hakima sends in a question, says, in an 8-man PPR, I need a flex play in Njoku, OBJ, or JSN. In a full PPR, who do I have ranked higher? In Njoku, where art thou? Njoku sits there. OBJ, he's ahead of OBJ, and he's ahead of JSN. So I'd go with Njoku. Now, if the weather is not great in about an hour, or potentially an hour and a half prior to kickoff in Cleveland, then we could pivot to OBJ. Otherwise, I would like to play Njoku there. Thanks. Let's see here. After Hakima's question, we had one that is... Chris Johnson in the chat said, Olave is out. Are we still picking McBride over Taysom Hill? Yes. I would, at least. Hurts still ranked number 1? Yeah. I mean, there's no way that I'm not playing Jalen Hurts. If you have Jalen Hurts on your lineup, on your team, and you have the ability to pivot to, like, I don't know, Lamar Jackson, then you play in too much of a privileged league. Like, you need to start playing with more people, because there's no way you should have 2 top 5 options at quarterback. But yes, if you have Jalen Hurts, you should play him because he's Jalen Hurts. Worst case scenario, you pivot to Mariota because he doesn't play tomorrow, which I 1,000% doubt will be the case. Perry Paul sends in a question. Perry says, full PPR Superflex. Case Keenum or Chuba Hubbard? Full PPR, Case Keenum or Chuba Hubbard? I'd rather play Chuba Hubbard. Follow-up question, Dalton Schultz or Taysom Hill? I'd rather play Taysom Hill. Thank you. Chris Olave is out on Sleeper. Okay, cool. Thank you. Let me see if he's out on Yahoo, just so he's not even out on Yahoo yet. I'll change my Sleeper lineups in a moment. I'm not in any rush. I won't forget about it. Let's see here. Steady rain in North Carolina. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Semi-Pro says, I live 20 minutes from the stadium. Supposed to rain all day. Cool. Thank you. Appreciate the confirmations on that, guys. Thank you. All right, let's see here. Rob Zen 08 says, full PPR. Flex, Hall, Chuba, Likely, McLaurin, or Reed. Hall, Chuba, Likely, McLaurin, or Reed. In a full PPR, I'm probably going Breece Hall. Let me check. Hall is... Yeah, Breece Hall is number 1. Jaden Reed number 2. They're 5 spots separating each other. But yeah, I'll take Breece Hall there out of the 5. I go Breece Hall number 1, Jaden Reed number 2, McLaurin number 3, Chuba 4, Likely 5. Thank you. The Purge sends in a question. Where's Purge's question, though? I don't see it, but maybe I can Control F to find it. Purge. The Purge says, just lost Olave. I need to start Kincaid, Wando Robinson, or John Dotson. Between the 3, I'd probably just play Dalton Kincaid there. Thank you, Purge. Dom sends in a question. Says, with Hurts ill, do I start Jordan Love or Mariota? You play Jalen Hurts because he's going to play tomorrow. If you guys know something that I don't, and Jalen Hurts is not, if they've already given him the out designation, great. But he's playing tomorrow, guys. I'm telling you, he's playing tomorrow. If you guys want to play somebody else, be my guest. I am not the decision maker for your team. I'm here to just tell you what I would do, and what I would do is be the most confident I could possibly with Jalen Hurts right now. So that's where I'm at. Let's see here. We had a question that came in from, okay, we took care of that. Boom, boom, boom. Anything else that I missed above that? Alex Olivas, I missed that. Perry, we took care of you. Alex Olivas, send in a question. Sorry, I missed that, Alex. It says full PPR, last flex spot. Who do I start and why? Jerome Ford and Zay Jones. In a full PPR, considering they play against the Chicago Bears, 3 of their starting offensive linemen are out. I think Jerome Ford is a little bit of a lesser play in comparison to Zay Jones, who's probably going to get himself a pretty healthy volume of targets in his direction. Between the two, if it wasn't a half PPR, I'd probably lean towards Ford, but considering it is, I'll take Zay Jones there. If Joe Flacco is going to be the check down king and Jerome Ford has himself like 8 or 9 receptions today, great. But outside of that, I think Zay Jones is pretty much the safer play between the two in a full PPR capacity. Okay, cool. Good to go. Boom, boom, bing, bang. Where are we at? We had a question that came from Josh Woodrow, who says, Jake Ferguson or Antonio Gibson in the flex? Let me check. Let's see. I have Antonio Gibson ranked higher. Thank you. Moving on to Tyler Franco, who says Reed or McBride. I have Reed ahead of McBride. Thank you. Moving on to Parker A, who says half PPR rank, pick one. McBride, Ridley, Tajay. Between those 3, I would take McBride. As for your follow-up question, also with Hurts questionable, would you go with Mahomes to be safe? News reports saying Jalen Hurts' illness got worse. I mean, there's no way he doesn't play. Dude's got to, I don't know, guys. Listen, I'm going to tell you what I would do, okay? This is what I would do. I would literally, if I have Jalen Hurts on my team, I'd pick up Marcus Mariota and I'd wait till tomorrow. If you have Patrick Mahomes and you'd like to play him ahead of Jalen Hurts, be my guest. That's perfectly fine. But I'm going to tell you what I would do. What I would do is I'd play Jalen Hurts. That's it. Done. That's it. No more. I'm not pivoting on it. The last time I pivoted on someone who was supposed to be injured or was supposed to be questionable, it did not bode too well. So for now, I'm going to take it as face value. He's questionable, sure. He's not doubtful. If they gave him the doubtful designation, fine. But considering, it is, the reason why they have to deem him questionable, okay, legally, is because they practiced today. They had a walkthrough. Anytime you have an injury or a player that is in less than full participation at that practice, legally they have to designate it. Him going from technically sick to questionable is not him going from healthy to doubtful or out in the game. Just putting there in terms of designations. Legally, they have to report that he was limited, therefore questionable. That's how it works. Either way, good to go. Where are we at? We had a question that came from QB. Oh, sorry, that's OB. OB says Njoku or likely safer floor. I think the weather weather dictates that. If the weather's solid in Cleveland, we'll take Njoku. Otherwise, you can just pivot to likely and be fine there. Stu says Curtis Samuel or Shaheed since Olave is out. Curtis Samuel or Shaheed in a half PPR. I'll take Shaheed. In a full PPR, I'll take Curtis Samuel. Thanks, Stu. All right, let's go back here. We had a question that came in from Tommy. Tommy says full PPR, Henry or Reed. If that's Derrick Henry, I'm playing him over Jaden Reed this week. Jordan Love or Stafford, I'll take Stafford. Thank you. David says defense ranking. Sure. There you go. All righty. Let me see. They deem Olave out yet? They have not. I mean, my goodness. I'm assuming that Yahoo has their... It's hilarious. Yahoo, like even when you click on him, when you click on Olave, it says, according to Nate Underhill, Olave is out in week 50. Okay, then why don't you go ahead and give me the designation so I can swap him? Same thing with Christian Watson. Why is Christian Watson not out yet? What's that about? What are we doing? All right, let me go to my sleeper team. Let me see if there's anything I can change here. Let's do this. Okay, let's do this because that's not going to be happening. Let's do this. You know what I need actually? Let me see if there's okay. Make a couple lineup moves really quickly, just real quick. Let's move him into my flex. Boom, bang, and we're good. Okay, cool. Go ahead and close that sleeper league. We're good to go. Olave's out. We're good. All right, cool. Rockout sends in a question. Thank you, Rockout. Appreciate it. Says PPR, one flex. We have Walker, Keaton Mitchell, or Terry McLaurin. In a PPR, I'll take Terry McLaurin there. Thank you. Ritter, DeVito, or Keenum. Between those three, Michael Lewis, I would play DeVito. Haversick or Hopkins, I'd rather have the Rams kicker. How confident in Eagles wide receivers are you if Mariota is starting quarterback? I'm gonna assume that it's not. Listen, I don't even want it to seep into my mind. I'm not doing it. Not doing it. Not doing it. All right, let's see here. Where are we at? Safest floor, says Rex. Rexton says safest floor between the following and a full PPR. Pick 2: Ford, Gibson, Achane, Rice, DJ Moore, and Dobbs. The safest floor is probably Rice and DJ Moore. If the weather is bad in Cleveland, you go Rice and Gibson. Probably, yeah, I think that's probably the safest floors out of the bunch. Yeah, that's the way I would go about it. Okay, cool. Someone says Browns or Titans. I have them back to back. We'll have to wait and see what the weather looks like. Jaden Reed or Aaron Jones? I'll probably just take Jaden Reed there in a full PPR. Sources: Tyreek Hill is inactive today. Devon Achane will be active. Okay, so Tyreek Hill is inactive. I got to remove him and I got to adjust the rankings on screen in a moment so I can move up Jalen Waddle accordingly. Wow. Tyreek Hill. Oh, and I also have to move down Tua Tagovailoa. So let me go ahead and do that really quickly in terms of rankings. What a week, huh? Chris Godwin's active. Okay, cool. All right. So now that we know for a fact that Devon Achane is playing, I'm taking the questionable tag away from him and I'm leaving him there. Boom. As for Tyreek Hill, he's out of the lineup, so I need to remove him. So let's go ahead. Let's do this. Let's go here. Let's go here. So Tyreek Hill gone. Let's move up everyone, and I need to definitely move up Jalen Waddle. Let's go probably Waddle ahead of, a lot of these guys. Probably going Waddle there. Boom, boom. Okay. And then I need to grab another wide receiver off of this list and bring him in. It would be Demarcus Robinson. So let's move him into this conversation. Boom. All right, cool. So that's that. And then I got to move Tua down a couple spots here. All right, cool. So now let's get to going in these rankings. Here we go. Let's get rid of the questionable tag and let's start adjusting these rankings. So that's set there. I believe nothing changes here. Nothing does change there. Okay, cool. We have CeeDee Lamb all the way to Amari Cooper at 18 now because the adjustment. Again, for those of you who are joining us this morning, welcome. Hope you guys are doing well. Yes, we know that Tyreek Hill is out. We know that Chris Olave is out. We know that Achane is in. We know that AJ Dillon is inactive. Christian Watson is inactive. We are given full designations as of right now that is the case, so we're good to go. No problems. Let's go ahead. We have those set. Good to go. Let's adjust that accordingly. The Jets defense, I think they're pretty solid as of right now. We'll leave it as that. Save as copy. JPEG. Kicker defense. Save. Boom. Okay, so that one's adjusted. Then I need to change my kicker. Sorry, we need to change tight end and quarterback rankings really quickly to lower Tua's overall rankings. So let's go to quarterback and let's adjust this accordingly. Done. File, save as copy, JPEG, and we're good to go. If anything else changes in the coming hour and a half that we're here live streaming, again, I'm going to always keep it up to date. That's why I do these live streams, because you never know. If I was to just rank somebody on a Saturday night and then just close my eyes and pray that it would stay the same by the time we get to kickoff, I would be delusional. There's, the NFL is always changing. The rankings are always changing because there's so much more information that is revealed to us that is not always prevalent or available. So we're good to go. Let me make sure. Is the rankings on screen good to go? We have, there's no more Tyreek Hill. There's, okay, good. DeMarcus Robinson's there. Yep. It's up to date. And Tua is at 16 now. Cool. Done. Alrighty. So let's see here. Where art thou? Rockout we sent. Okay, so we took care of Rockout's question. Now we have Pranay Moniar, who says Ferguson, Zay Jones, or Shaheed since Olave is gone. Between the three of them, let's see. Let's see where I have them ranked. Ferguson might be the highest. Yeah. I have Ferguson ranked as the highest of the 3.5 PPR. In a full PPR, I'd probably still go with Ferguson there. Let me actually confirm that. Ferguson in a full PPR, I would still take above the rest. Thank you. Steve sends in a question, says, should I swap Hurts for Allen or Lamar? If you have Hurts, Lamar, and Allen, sure, swap them for Lamar. That's fine. Those are my two top tier quarterbacks. They're both tier 1. If you want to swap it, that's fine by me. I have no problem with it. That's how it works with my tier rankings, right? Hurts and Lamar are my number 1s. Dak and Josh Allen are my number 2s as of right now on my my rankings. So if you would like, swap in Lamar. There's no problem there. Let's see here. G Medina says Saints, Bears, or Texans defense today. I'll take the Saints. As for those 3 kickers, I will take the Rams kicker. Yeah, Lucas. I don't even know how to pronounce this guy's last name. Let me actually look this up. I probably should know. Yeah, Haversick, right? Yeah, Haversick. Okay, cool. We're good. Haversick. Lucas Haversick. That's who I would take over the 3, G Medina. I take him over Groupie, and I'll take him over Folk. Thank you. Let's see here. Michael Delavella sends in a question. Let's see here. Where is Michael Delavella's question? Michael Delavella. Michael, if you could do me a favor and type in the chat, there wasn't anything message-wise attached to your super chat, so just type in live chat. Thank you. And I'll get to your question. Gio Ortiz says Rice or Achane. I will still play Rice there over Achane comfortably. Kenneth Williams says full PPR, Achane or DJ Moore. As of right now, I'd like to play DJ Moore. We'll have to wait and see whether or not... does anybody know if Denzel Ward is active? Let's see. Let me go see if I can find it. Denzel Ward. But Denzel Ward is out. Wait, no. Hold up, wait. Denzel Ward returns. Yeah, no. That's not good. That's not good. So, what do I need to do with DJ Moore? I need to move DJ Moore down. Legitimately. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to adjust some rankings really quickly. All of the information is beginning to flow in here. We're in a flow state. Yeah, I don't like the idea of Denzel Ward being active. That does not bode well for DJ Moore. Okay, so let me change some of these rankings real quick. So DJ Moore, who currently sits at number 12, needs to move down back to where he was earlier this week. So in comparison to the bunch and a half PPR, I would probably go as far as here. Yeah, that's good. He's not going to move down like a ridiculous amount, guys. Don't panic. Like, he's still a starting option. I'm just saying, like, in comparison to, Rashee Rice, Zay Flowers, I think those two guys are just better options in comparison now because of this overall information. So don't panic. Don't let my my confidence of swapping his ranking force you from currently starting him, because he's a great player. We all know this. All right, so let's save that. That's done. And then let me go ahead and change these rankings really quickly as well. Quarterback, tight ends, put up kicker and defense. Boom, 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 boom. Defense 2, where is this? Boom. Cool. And then we need to save this file. Save as. Kicker defense. Boom, save. Perfect. Okay, cool. A lot of adjustments, but hey, I think it's for the better. I'd rather adjust the rankings than just leave them as is and just hope that everything pans out, because usually it doesn't. Okay, cool. Now that we've caught up on that, good to go. To answer your question, Kenneth Williams, between the two, in a full PPR base, let me see here. Where's Achane? in a full PPR, Achan's at number 17. So he would be ahead of Hubbard. And if he's ahead of Hubbard in this circumstance, where would he be? Hubbard's there. I would still play DJ Moore ahead of him in a full PPR. Thank you. Moving on, we had a question from Chris Moraga, who says half PPR, DJ Moore or Garrett Wilson. Yeah, I'd still play DJ Moore there. If the weather's bad, then we go to Garrett Wilson. I don't know about the weather yet. We still got a lot of time between now and kickoff, okay? Hubbard or Achan, I would still play Hubbard over Achan in a half PPR. I think Hubbard's volume of opportunity is unmatched. Achan certainly will have touchdown upside, but the reason why I have Achan still low ranked, even though he's playing and he's still at my number 18 spot, primarily is because of the fact that 3 of their starting offensive linemen are not going today. And that certainly makes a huge difference. All right. We had a question that rolled in from... Actually, let me see if Michael Delavella ended up sending a question. Yeah, he did. With Hurts downgraded to questionable, should I pivot to Love? 10 a.m. game or roll the dice with Hurts getting better by Monday Night Football? Note, we have team QB. So if it's not Hurts, it would be Mariota. If you're asking for what I would do, I would legitimately... I wouldn't play Love out of fear. I would just play Jalen Hurts. And if it ends up being Mariota, I play Mariota. That's what I would do. Legitimately. Thank you. Okay, where art thou? Where art thou? Okay, we took care of that. We took care of that. We move up. We have Tyler Von Essen. Thank you, Tyler. Appreciate it. Says, good morning, brother. Achan or Zay Jones? At that point, I'll take Achan there. Thank you. Big D Lebowski says, yo, been watching your videos for the past few years. Love the stuff. Thank you very much. Am I crazy for starting Keaton Mitchell over James Conner in a full PPR? I would say, I would say you're not crazy. I think that there's a potential which Keaton Mitchell could outscore him. I think depending on the game script of that overall contest, there could be a lot of utilization out of Keaton Mitchell. I just don't know. Look, the issue is that Keaton Mitchell is probably not the preferred goal line back. Yes, he's going to get himself utilization within the passing game, but this is not a team that throws the ball to the running backs very often because of the mobility of their quarterback. So as of right now, between the two, yes, I would say that if it's me, I'm playing James Conner in a full PPR. I'm not taking the risk of Keaton Mitchell. He does have potential for upside, but I think James Conner has also proved based on his last performance that he certainly has potential for upside. Moster rank stays the same, yeah, because my ranking of Achan stayed the same. Were you guys not looking at the screen? Achan has been here the whole time. He's been at 18 the whole time. So he was here that under the assumption that he plays, he would be 18. So Mostert being at 8, well, Mostert was at 7 earlier today. The only reason he's at 8 now is because Alvin Kamara went up a spot because Chris Olave is out, because we're expecting him to get more of a target volume. But Mostert at 8 is the same. So is Achan at 18. I have not moved them. They are the same as where they were. They do not move because of anything. Prolific Mac says McBride or Aaron Jones. McBride or Aaron Jones. Let me see where I have them in a half PPR Prolific. As of right now, I have it McBride in both formats. In a standard league, I would take Aaron Jones, but in half full PPR, I'll take McBride. Chris Montoya says full PPR. What is that? Demario Douglas or James Conner? Full PPR, Demario Douglas, James Conner. Where do I have them ranked? Let's see, full PPR. Where art thou, Connor? So Connor is there, and I currently have him ahead of Demario Douglas. Thank you. Edge Urton sends it a question. Edge says, started Downs last night in fear that Achan would sit. Now that he's ruled in, should I play Achan or Ridley? If it's me, I play Achan over Ridley, to be honest. Thank you. Appreciate it. Moving on, we had a question from Zolbu who says, Adam Thielen or Rashid Shaheed? I would rather play Adam Thielen I'd play Adam Thielen if it was clear weather, but considering it's probably not, consider everyone who has been letting me know that it's going to be consistent rain all day, you'd probably just rather play Rashid Shaheed there. It's just a safer play of the two. And considering that they don't have the upside of Chris Olave, it's just easier to pivot that direction. So for right now, Just play Rashid Shaheed. He's higher ranked on screen as well. Thank you. All right, did I miss anything? Let me scroll back up here. We took care of Gio. We took care of Kenneth Williams. Okay, good to go. Zobu, we took care of. Unleashed 1312 says, with Jalen Hurts being sick, should I play Stafford? You can if you'd like. I think they're both great plays, but you know my opinion on it. The rankings on screen pretty much designate where I would go with my quarterback play. But if you want to play Stafford just to be safe, it's your team. That's fine by me. Tyreek Hill is out. This is a question from Travis. Says, do I go with Foreman or Pitts? Considering the weather in Carolina, I just play Deontay Foreman there. Let's see here. We had a question that came in from Connor Rudden, who says, Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith or Swift in a half PPR? I'm fairly certain I have Devontae Smith ranked higher. Let me check here. Half PPR, flex, boom. Devontae Smith is higher. Yep. Thank you. Alrighty, let's go ahead. There's a question that came in from a couple more. After Connor Rudden, we had Rob Jackson. Rob, thank you. Hey, Andrew. Hollywood or Pop Douglas in a full PPR? I would rather play Hollywood there. Thank you. Justin says, Hurts is questionable. Should I start Fields? Again, I have the rankings on screen as to what I would do. If it's my team, I'm playing Jalen Hurts this week. If you want to play Justin Fields just to be safe, I have no problem with it. I could 100% understand your reasoning as to why you would want to pivot just to be safe, because obviously there is a significant down drop if in fact it's not Jalen Hurts, but I do expect him to play. Like I was mentioning earlier, the questionable designation is only there because they legally have to present it because he was limited at practice today because they play tomorrow, right? They had a practice today, even though it was a walkthrough. So we're on the same page. OJ Running says PPR next week. Drop McLaurin for Jaden Reed for the flex. PPR next week. I don't even know what's going on this week. We're talking about next week already, huh? NFL Week 16. Let's see this. Who do the Packers play? Packers play against Carolina. If the weather's a disaster there next week, it could be bad. But we're dropping. Yeah, I don't mind that. Considering McLaurin plays against the Jets, I don't mind that, LJ. Thank you. Caden sends in a question. Caden says, McKinnon or Mitchell? Full PPR. I'd rather play Keaton Mitchell there. I think McKinnon could look, the lack of opportunity in terms of touches that McKinnon got last week is pretty alarming. I think I'd just rather play Keaton Mitchell there. Yeah. Thank you. 808 all day says, lost Tyreek Hill, full PPR. Rashid Shaheed with no Olave or Curtis Samuel. Can pick up DeMarcus Robinson with no Tutu. Is Tutu inactive today? I thought he had a full practice on Friday. Either way, between the bunch, if it's a full PPR, I'd rather play Curtis Samuel. If it's a half PPR, I'll take Rashid Shaheed. But considering you are playing in a full PPR, I'll take Curtis Samuel there, 808. Thank you. Fall says, Reek out, London, Thielen, Zay Jones to replace. I'll play Zay Jones there. Thank you. Moving on to Ivan Garcia, who says, full PPR, flex, spot, Zeke or Achane. I'll take Zeke there. First rounds of the playoffs, I'm favored by 15. Yeah, I'd play Zeke. I'd just be safe with it between the two because I expect him to be solid. Okay, so via Yahoo, finally, we have Christian Watson out. So on this team, I can go ahead and make some moves here. So boom, send him to the IR. Boom, send him to the IR. Now I'm going to go pick up some players here. Let me cook. What do we have? So we need to go do some stuff here. Just add a couple players just in case they play well. I can just maybe have them for next week just in case. Okay, boom, boom. Let's do this. And then let's go ahead and let's also do this. Do I need any of these? I don't think so. Nah, I don't want any of this. What I would actually prefer to do is this. Done. Okay, cool. So let me go ahead and set this lineup for myself. Sorry, guys. Appreciate the patience. Go ahead and do this for now, and we're good to go. Wunderbar. Awesome. Okay. Getting back to the chat. So yeah, Ivan, I would play Zeke there. Thank you. Moby1 Kenobi. What's up, Martin? Hope you're doing well. Full PPR. Pick one in the flex. Waddle, Nakua, Devontae Smith, Devon Achane, or ETM. Yeah, between the bunch, considering we do not have an active Tyreek Hill, I think Waddle is the preferred full PPR play out of the bunch. Over Nakua, over Devontae Smith, over Achane, over ETM. If I was going to suggest a second play, it would be Nakua, considering Washington's matchup there. But yeah, I'll take Waddle. Last time out against the Jets, had himself over 100 receiving yards. I would assume we could get very similar numbers back to this offense prior to Tyreek Hill's overall usage. I mean, I know it's a different coordinator and everything, but if you go back to like the rookie season of Jalen Waddle, the guy was getting peppered with like 12 targets a game. So he was getting himself a lot of opportunity. I would assume that we go back to that overall kind of realm. Someone said kicker ranking, sure. Anyway, so yeah, thank you, Martin. I'll take Waddle there. Gigabytes says, Andrew, how are you? I'm doing good, thank you. What's the reason for Zeke going up in the rankings? He did not go up in the rankings. From yesterday, he's been the exact same, and you were here yesterday, Gigs, so I don't know. He literally, the only thing that was separating him from the rest of the, like, Mixon and Gibbs and Montgomery were next to him, but they're gone now. So maybe it looks like he went up, but he's literally the same as where he was. I have Breece Hall. Need to start one in the flex in a full PPR. I'll take Zeke there. I think they both have a lot of incredible receiving upside, but if you want to play Breece Hall, I don't mind it. I have Breece Hall pretty highly ranked in a full PPR capacity, but as of right now, yes, I do prefer to play Zeke in this circumstance. Let me check something real quick. Make sure I have an idea as to who's inactive in some of these defensive players. Where is this? Alrighty, let's see. Where are we at here? Boom, 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 boom. Okay, yeah, we're cool. All right, nice. Moving on. Your follow-up question there, Gigabytes, was, should I drop CEH for Aaron Jones? I mean, yes, I would. Considering, okay, so here's the thought process, right? Considering AJ Dillon broke his thumb, he probably misses a couple weeks here. So if Aaron Jones is going to be the full-time back of this backfield going forward, their upcoming matchups I do like. I mean, I like Clyde Edwards, but I think, Jerick McKinnon's always there to dig into his workload. I think Aaron Jones as a lone back is the preferred option going forward in terms of those two. But yeah, I'll pick up Aaron Jones in your circumstance. But yeah, I'll play Zeke over Hall. Thank you. Where are we at here? We had a question that came in from. We had a couple questions here. All right. D. Ludishenko says, greetings from Ukraine, Andrew. Welcome. Hope you're doing well. Full PPR flex, Garrett Wilson or Evan Ingram. In a full PPR, I'm fairly certain I have Garrett Wilson ranked higher. Let me confirm this. Yeah, I have Garrett Wilson ahead of Evan Ingram in a full PPR scoring format. As for your follow-up question, or statement, McBride is my tight end. Would you rather play Geno Smith over Jordan Love if healthy? If Geno Smith is healthy and he's starting tomorrow, yeah, I'd like to have him over Jordan Love. But considering, again, he's one of those questionable players, it's just a matter of how risk-averse you are in these circumstances. If you would like to play Jordan Love because they're close in rankings, I don't mind it. But I prefer to play Geno if he's active. Sebastian Gutierrez says, happy playoff Sunday, boys. Question in the chat, Andrew. Okay, Sebastian, thanks. Sebastian Gutierrez says, good morning. Full PPR. Pick 2 receivers, 2 running backs, in a singular flex. We have Bijan, Christian McCaffrey, Zeke, Diggs, Kupp, Waddle, Aaron Jones. Okay, the 2 running backs that I would play are Christian McCaffrey and Bijan Robinson. You're making this easy on me, by the way. The 2 wide receivers I would play are Stephon Diggs and Cooper Kupp, and I would flex Jalen Waddle in a full PPR. So again, Bijan, Christian McCaffrey, Diggs, Kupp, Waddle. Thank you, Sebastian. Appreciate it. Moving on, we had a question that came in from St. Luke, who says, full PPR, Kenneth Walker, Singletary, or OBJ? In a full PPR, I'll take OBJ there. Number 1. Number 2 would be Kenneth Walker. Number 3 would be Singletary. Appreciate it. Moving on to DK Mitchell. DK, appreciate it. Says, pick 3, 2 wide receivers and 1 flex in a full PPR scoring format. We have Rashee Rice, DJ Moore, Chris Olave, and Breece Hall. This, I mean, I don't know when you sent this in, but the question's answered for you pretty much. Chris Olave is out. You play Rashee Rice and DJ Moore confidently. Breece Hall in the flex. You're good to go. It's 3 great players. Good luck this weekend, DK. Top Gun Fins sends in a question. Thank you, Top Gun. Andrew, who do I start? Zay Flowers or Jaden Reed? Also, pick 2 between these. Okay, so Flowers and Reed, I'll take Flowers. As for the 3 options that you have, Achane, Zeke, and Hall, I will take Zeke and Hall ahead of Achane this week. Thank you. Appreciate it. Moving on to No Pressure, who says, full PPR, Who do I sit? London, Curtis Samuel, Elijah Moore. Ha ha ha. Out of those three, I honestly probably end up playing Curtis Samuel and Drake London. I sit Elijah Moore. Thank you. Lord Ross says, how do we feel about Dobbs, honestly? Honestly, okay, so this is my legitimate, honest, unfiltered opinion about what I think about Dobbs today. I wouldn't be surprised if he scores 25 fantasy points. But I don't think Dobbs is that good of a receiver, and I don't think Jordan Love is that good of a quarterback. Yes, they got a really advantageous matchup, and that gives them the benefit of the doubt. But typically, or what I would probably say is gonna likely happen, is he scores like middling points. He probably gets himself a lot of receptions and yards. He probably doesn't find himself in the end zone, even though I hope he does, and he has the potential of doing so. But I think he probably squanders this opportunity of having himself a huge upside performance, and that's why I have him ranked as low as I do. Let's hear. Eden Carrasco says, good morning. Flowers, McBride, or Kincaid? Between those three, I'll take Flowers. Thank you, Eden. All right, we had a question from Slime, who says, can't believe I'm about to play Kyler, have Tua, and /Hill. Yeah, that's rough, man. That's rough. But hey, Kyler it is. At least you have an alternative option to pivot, right? Let's see here. Mark Yosko says playoffs. Do I hope Hurts plays or play Flacco? I feel comfortable playing Hurts or Mariota. So if I'm you, again, like I said, if I have Jalen Hurts, just in case, I go and I pick up Mariota. But yeah, I'm holding out hope that Hurts is going to play, and I'm assuming he will. If he doesn't play, you can blame me. But I'm fairly certain they're going to give him all the Pedialyte. They're going to have him attached to a nice, what's it called? Rehydrating drip in his arm. He'll be fine, man. He'll be fine. I think he'll play tomorrow. And I think he'll play well. All right. Let's see here. We had a question from Samuel Ellie, who says, pick 2 wide receivers and 1 flex. We have Kupp, Nakua, Etienne, Shaheed. Between those 4 options, I'd go Kupp, Nakua, and Etienne. Shaheed is on the bench. Thank you. Lucky Slevin says, Tyler Bass or Haversick. I'd rather play the kicker that's indoors and doesn't have any weather potentially affecting him. So I'll play Lucas Haversick of the Rams. As for your follow-up question, James Cook or Pollard, in a full PPR, I'll take Pollard there. I think James Cook and him have very similar production in terms of receiving work. James Cook's gotten himself far more opportunity now that we've had an offensive coordinator shift, but I think the matchup against Dallas Cowboys on the ground, not the greatest, but yeah, in a full PPR, I'll take Pollard there for sure. All right. Where are we at? Someone said, considering Geno's not playing DK Metcalf or Derrick Henry, I'd play Derrick Henry even if Geno Smith was playing. I'd still play Derrick Henry. So you're good to go there, Patrick Garcon. Or was that Guerin? I thought I said Garcon. Pierre Garcon was a great wide receiver for fantasy. I don't know if you guys remember those days. I don't know if you guys were playing back then, but man, that was great. Ishmael Ariza says, Younghoe Koo is out. Who should I put in? If any of the kickers that are on the screen are available, so Aubrey, Tucker, Haversick, Sanders, Santos, Bass, Moody, Butker, Elliott, McManus, Hopkins, or Folk, if any of those guys are available, those are decent options in terms of a replacement. I didn't even like Younghoe Koo as a play anyway today because it's raining, but yeah. Okay, Bug Z19 says full PPR super flex. No Tyreek Hill, Thielen, or McKinnon. Yikes. Let me go to Twitter. Let me look at the weather in Carolina real quick. Where are we at? Let's go to this. Let's see what the weather looks like. Let me see what the latest report. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Nope. Discard. Okay, boom. There we go. I probably just put Jerick McKinnon there. Thank you. Appreciate it, Bugs. Raj Patel sends in a question. Thank you, Raj. Says McBride or Amari Cooper in a half PPR. Assuming, let me look at my half PPR rankings. Yeah. I currently have, where's Amari Cooper on this list? Hello? Well, F Cooper? Okay. So he's right there. Yeah. As of right now, I'll take Trey McBride. Thank you. Riley sends in a question. Says PPR pick 3. Tyreek Hill is out. I have Lockett, JSN, London, Isaiah Likely, and Keaton Mitchell. In a full PPR, I will take Lockett, I will take JSN, and I will take Isaiah Likely. Thank you. Alrighty, where are we? We scroll back up to a question that was sent in from, okay, after Riley, we have Noah Billhorn. Thank you, Noah. Says Olave and Hill are out. Good pivot options. Dowdle or Michael Wilson in the flex full PPR. I'd rather play Michael Wilson in a full PPR. Thank you. Champagne Fantasy says full PPR, 1 wide receiver, 1 flex. We have Reed, McBride, Swift, and OBJ. I would play McBride and I'd play Reed. Thank you, Champagne. Appreciate it. John S says full PPR, Kittle or McBride. Kittle. Where are we at here? Carver Gaming says with Olave out, should I start Godwin or Lockett? I prefer to play Lockett. Dylan sends in a super chat. Thank you, Dylan. 12-team full PPR, flex Connor or London? Connor. Thank you. Prolific Max says PPR, Aaron Jones or McBride? Finn's defense still number 1. Finn's defense still number 1. Yes, Finn's defense is still number 1. I do expect them. If the Jets are able to beat the Finns today, I'd be so happy because Aaron Jones plays next. I mean, not Aaron Jones. Aaron Rodgers would play next week, and that only helps all of the receiving options on this team. So Tyler Conklin, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson would be a top 5 wide receiver for Aaron Jones. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is locked up and starting next week. But anyway, probably not top 5, but top 10. Anyway, as of right now, between those two and a full PPR, I'll take McBride. Thank you. True Gentleman for you says, no wreck. Please help me. Flex, Godwin, Gabe Davis, Connor. In a full PPR, I will play Godwin. In a half PPR, I'll play Connor. Thank you. Palomo says, PPR, Jake Ferguson, or pick up OBJ off the waivers. Let me check who I have ranked higher. Full PPR, OBJ is there, and he's ahead of Ferguson by 3 spots. So if you can pick up OBJ and play him, and you're not dropping Ferguson for him, I'm okay with that. Otherwise, you keep it as is. Gabriel sends in a question. Says Gibson or Walker in a full PPR. I have Antonio Gibson ranked higher than Kenneth Walker this week. Thank you. Stephen Drake says, hey brother, Rams kicker or Miami kicker? Oh, that's a really good one. I think I'd still keep the Rams kicker in. I think Miami kicker gets a little bit more upside, but there is always a chance that without Tyreek Hill, they look like the way that they did at the back end of last week. Last week's game against Tennessee, where they were pretty much an unfunctionable offense. But for right now, yeah, I'll stick with the Rams kicker for now. Let's hear it. Khalil De La Torre says, Mingo worth a flyer. Considering the weather, I'd say no. Olave/Collins are gone. D-Rob available. Yeah, I'd probably just rather play Demarcus Robinson there as of right now. Thank you. Shane sends in a question, says, I need upside out of the following. Either need 3 between Achane, Breece, Henry, Swift, or play 2 of 4 and pick up Rashid Shaheed, Gabe Davis, or Curtis Samuel for the flex. Okay, so the available options you have are good enough, and I would suggest them. I would probably end up playing Henry for sure, Breece Hall for sure, and out of the other 2, I'm probably playing Swift. So I'd probably go Breece Hall, Derrick Henry, DeAndre Swift. Those are the 3 that I would suggest. As for your follow-up question, Goddard or Cole Kmet, I'll take Goddard there. Thank you. Leo IGL says Metcalf or Aaron Jones flex non-PPR. I'd still play Metcalf there. Thank you. Elliot Tom says, for my flex half PPR, do I go Taysom Hill or injured Achane? Good one. Actually, good one. Okay, so here's my... And what is the format? Is it full PPR? It's half. Okay. So in a half PPR, where do I have Taysom Hill? Because I think he would be slightly ahead, honestly. Where's Taysom? Let me just control F this. Taysom Hill is there. No, actually. In a half PPR, even in a full. Yeah, Taysom has moved down a little bit in comparison to where I had him yesterday. If he moves up because of Olave a little bit, boom, boom, boom. Do I play Achane over him? Damn. I think I'd still play Taysom Hill there. Thank you. Bob France sends in a question, says full PPR, Njoku or Brown? I'd rather play David Njoku over Noah Brown or Marquise Brown. Thank you. Andrew Clark says full PPR flex McBride or Achane. I think I'm sticking with a tight end. I saw, Andrew, that you ended up playing Addison yesterday. Congrats, man. I mean, I don't know how anybody could have potentially predicted that kind of a game from Addison, but hey, if you played Addison, congratulations. That was ridiculous. Bugs19 says flex, full PPR super flex, second quarterback, Zach Wilson, Derek Carr, Bailey Zappi. Oh, wow. Can I just plead the fifth on this one? If I was going to suggest one of these quarterbacks, it's not Bailey Zappi, and Carr without Olave seems like a disaster. Do I play Zach Wilson over Derek Carr today? If it's my team and they're playing against the Giants, who are going to blitz the entire game, he's just going to be a check down machine. And their red zone offense is so bad. Oh, can Zach Wilson pull it out of it? I'm going to play Zach Wilson there. I think it's crazy, but I think I do it. I don't know if I could trust Derek Carr without Olave. Brian the Lion. You know what? I think I'm over exaggerating it. Let's just play Derek Carr. I'm losing my mind a little bit. Brian the Lion says Tyreek Hill is out. Shaheed or Hollywood Brown in his place. I have Hollywood Brown ahead of Shaheed. Thank you. Bernard says full PPR OBJ, Komet, Depop. I'll pay OBJ there. Thank you. Jan Palomo says Connor or Lockett in a full PPR. Lockett. Thank you. Mono Patel says full PPR, Waddle or Evans. I'll take Waddle over Evans. Dallas or Packers defense. I'll take the Packers defense. Thank you. All right, we had a question that came in from Alan. Alan, thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it. Alan's question is, Hurts is sick. Should I still play AJ Brown? Yes. Ray Lomas says PPR, Aaron Jones or Jaden Reed? Jaden Reed, thank you. Irrelevant Me in the chat said rain showers and win in Cleveland. Pivot from kickers? Yeah, you can. Let me look at the weather right now. Let me go to Twitter real quick. Let me see what we're looking at. What is it? It's Bears at Browns. I think that's the Twitter post. Yeah, it's definitely raining in Cleveland. I'll tell you that much. And it's a heavy overcast. They have the field covered. It's a rain game. So for kickers, probably pivot if you have alternative options that are comparable. Let's hear Jeremiah sends in a question. It says, I need two in a flex between the following and a full PPR. Godwin, Marquise Brown, Chuba Hubbard. Of those three, I'll take Godwin and Chuba Hubbard. Thank you. Top Gun Fins says, hey Andrew, start Love or T-Law? Thank you. Between the two of them, yeah, I'll take Jordan Love. I like the matchup against the Buccaneers enough to where I'll take it. Thank you. King Shakir 21 says, one wide receiver, one flex. Garrett Wilson, Jada Reed, Odell Beckham. Yeah, I'll take Wilson and Reed there in a half or full PPR. Thank you. Christopher sends in a question, says Aaron Jones or Swift? Who has higher upside? The higher upside, legitimately, I think is DeAndre Swift if they give him the ball 15 times. And if, in fact, the Jalen Hurts illness, quote unquote, is going to play a factor, I think it only helps the usage of Swift tomorrow. Thank you. Pepperoni Tony says, gotta say my name with the Italian accent. I don't want to insult anybody with an Italian accent, especially if I mess it up. So I appreciate it, Pepperoni Tony, but I'll stay out on that one. Anyways, Tyreek Hill is out. Now my options are, my options at the flex are Spears or Curtis Samuel. Okay. Zay Jones and Rashid Shaheed, also available on the waivers. If you're playing in a full PPR, I'd like to play Curtis Samuel there. If it's a half PPR, I'd probably end up pivoting to Zay Jones. That's the direction I'm leaning towards there. Pepperoni, thank you. Kevin T says full PPR, CEH or Ty Spears. Out of the two, I'll take CEH there over Tyjae Spears. Thank you. Idris sends in a question, says full PPR, projected to lose in the playoffs, need a flex with high upside. Start Rashid Shaheed or Brandon Cooks. Also, thoughts on starting Chuba Hubbard. Chuba Hubbard should be a solid play, considering, again, it's going to be a definite run-heavy game. And considering it's going to be a run-heavy approach because of the weather, it will not allow the Atlanta Falcons to pull away too easily in terms of the overall score. So it'll allow the Carolina Panthers to continue to run the ball with Chuba. So he's a solid play. Between Shaheed and Brandon Cooks, I heavily prefer Brandon Cooks. Thank you. The Purge says Jets defense since Hill isn't playing, or Bears. I'm fairly certain I have the Jets defense ahead of the Bears. Yeah. Jets defense, I still keep them there at number 9. They're fine and good to go there as my number 9 ahead of the Bears. Thank you. Let's see here. Dylan sends in a question. Says, forgot to add JSN as one of my options in the last question between Connor and JSN. Who are we throwing into the flex in a full PPR? Let me check who I have ranked higher. Actually, that's got to change it to full PPR. Jackson Smith. Okay, Jackson Smith in the flex is there. He is ahead of James Conner in a full PPR. Thank you. Seabass says full PPR, Isaiah Likely or Taysom Hill? Taysom Hill, thank you. Adam Amar says running backs are Kyron, Gus, Sanders, and Royce Freeman. Elijah Mitchell and Zamir White. I have Lamar. Do I drop Russ to grab another handcuff? Hoping they might start next week on bye. I would probably just keep Russ. If you'd like, you can go pick up another handcuff. I don't know what's available in your league, but I would just like to have Russ just in case anything happens to Lamar. Like, you always want to have the insurance there. So I would just keep it as is. You're fine. Thank you, Adam. I appreciate it. Dan Seck sends in a question. Says full PPR. Downs, Deontay Johnson. There's no way that's Deontay Johnson. Who's D Johnson? If it's not Deontay, he already played yesterday. Who's the other D Johnson that it could possibly be? There's no other Johnsons that is a D Johnson. So it says Downs, D Johnson, Shaheed, Zay Jones. So Downs played yesterday. Deontay Johnson played yesterday. Oh, this is a rest of season question. Apologies. It says Downs, Deontay Johnson, Shaheed, Zay Jones, Christian Watson, rest of season. If I was to rank them, assuming Christian Watson's healthy, he'd be number 1. Next would be Deontay Johnson. After that would be Zay Jones. Then Josh Downs, and then Rashid Shaheed. Thank you. Alrighty, we had a question that came in from, is it Gob? Where's Gob? Gob MX says full PPR. Do I flex Antonio Gibson, Noah Brown, or Romeo Doubs? Between the three of them, let me see where I have Antonio Gibson in comparison. Gibson is there. Where is Dobbs? Where is Dobbs? Huh. Am I crazy? Where the heck is he? I have Antonio Gibson ahead of him. I have Antonio Gibson ahead of the entire bunch there, Gob. Thank you. Eliza says, full PPR, flex Connor, Njoku, Dobbs, or London. Okay, so Eliza, out of the 4 options in a full PPR, the order would be, let me check here real quick. We have, where's Njoku in comparison to Dobbs? Is he ahead of him? He is. So assuming the weather in Cleveland's solid, I will take Njoku number 1, Dobbs 2, Connor 3, London 4. If the weather is pretty shitty in the next 50 minutes, I would just pivot to playing Dobbs there as the number 1. Thank you. We had a question that came in from Purple Hippo 83 who says Olave is out and so is Tyreek Hill. Yeah, it's rough, man. Imagine getting to the fantasy playoffs and then all of a sudden Josh Jacobs, Keenan Allen, Tyreek Hill, and Chris Olave, who could potentially all be on one team, are just gone. Imagine that reality. Tough. It's the nature of the beast. Need 1 wide receiver and 1 flex, says Purple Hippo. In a standard scoring league, we have Ridley, Garrett Wilson, Jerome Ford, and Keaton Mitchell. 1 wide receiver, 1 flex. The wide receiver I would play is Garrett Wilson. The flex that I would play out of the bunch is Jerome Ford. Thank you, Purple Hippo. Appreciate it. Dragon Slayer sends in a question, says full PPR. Rashee Rice or Zeke? I'll take Rashee Rice there. Actually, let me check. I think it's going to be close, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Zeke, actually, let's just look up Rice. I think Rice would be easier to find. Oh, yeah, I have Rice ahead of Zeke by 3 spots in a full PPR. Thank you. We had a question that came in from Dash Hutton, who says, hey, bud, I'm in a tight spot. I just lost Chris Olave. Can I drop Christian Watson or Gabe Davis to pick up Demario Douglas or DeMarcus Robinson? Yeah, I'd be more than willing to drop Gabe Davis and pick up Demario Douglas there just to get solid points. Thank you. If it's a standard scoring league, I'll play Demarcus Robinson in hopes of that touchdown. If it's half PPR, full PPR, I think Demario Douglas is the better play. Appreciate it. MOBA Rono says, pick 2, Drake, Noah Brown, Kincaid, McKinnon, Waller. Out of the group, probably going with like a Noah Brown Kincaid combo. Thank you. Steven Pillar says, full PPR Flowers or HN? I'd rather play Flowers. Thank you. We had a question from Kenneth Williams who says full PPR McBride or DJ Moore. Assuming the weather, I think it's assuming the even with Denzel Ward, man. Denzel Ward scares the ever living shit out of me. Really does. Denzel Ward is a legitimate cornerback one. Like it is Denzel Ward Island over there. What do I want to do with DJ Moore? Is it enough to move him below? I would say no. I think I still play DJ Moore there. If the weather's bad enough, I would pivot away from it. But again, we'll have the next 45 minutes to determine that weather situation. Kenneth, thank you. Adam Amar says, also, I have Ayuk, Kupp, Thielen, and Godwin. Do I drop someone for Mingo? No. I have Kittle and Waller. Do I start Waller and Kittle over Thielen and Godwin? I would rather play Kittle and Godwin this week, if that's the question. Adam, thank you. Babs sends in a question. Babs says, 1 wide receiver, 1 flex. Rice, Waddle, Cook. Give me Rice and give me Waddle. Thank you. Joshua Wilkins says, on the bye, hold Christian Watson or drop for OBJ JSN. I'd hold on to him. Thank you. William Shiraz says, I'm playing against Laporta. Do I start Dak Prescott or Matthew Stafford? Stacking with Puka Nacua against Washington secondary. Also, do I flex Derrick Henry or Amari Cooper in a full PPR? In a full PPR, I play Derrick Henry. As for your prior question, Dak Prescott or Matthew Stafford, Stafford's been on fire as of late. He's got a great matchup, but I think what Dak Prescott's been able to do for the last 8 consecutive weeks is enough to make me feel very confident about starting him again over him. Thank you. AW122095 says, Mariota or Locke? I have Hurts and Geno. Good question, actually. Wow. If both don't play tomorrow, and it's Mariota versus Locke, who would I prefer to play? Dang. That is a legitimately hard question. Mariota looked terrible in the preseason. Looked terrible. I would probably play Drew Lock, to be honest. Samuel says, full PPR, flex, Achane or ETN since Hill is out. Achane or ETN? I'll take ETN there. Thank you. Ray Loma says, Kincaid or trust Dallas Goedert? If you'd like to play Kincaid, you can. I have them back-to-back. I think the only thing that would concern me about the Dallas Goedert play is, well, no, you know what? To be honest, Mariota likes his tight ends. I'd still play with Dallas Goedert there, even if there's a switch. Napa CEF says, Chiefs or Ravens defense this week? Thanks for the videos. No problem, Napa. I would take the Chiefs defense. For those of you guys who are wondering, kicker and defense rankings, they're on screen as it currently stands. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let me see here. Where are we at in terms of questions? Trying to catch up to the best of my ability. Do appreciate you guys being patient with that. Let's see here. If you guys haven't yet already, do me a solid. There's about 1,100 of you in here. If we can click the like button, that'd be greatly appreciated. Again, I try to provide as many rankings as I can on screen as possible every single week. So again, if it helps, click the like button. Thank you. Alrighty, where are we at here? So we took care of Samuel, we took care of Lomas, we took care of Napa. We have Tommy D who says, hey Andrew, Hurts is being downgraded and is a little worrying. Okay, I wouldn't worry. Playing Fields now or pick up Mariota and play him Monday night. He's downgraded is has such a negative connotation. He is questionable to play. There are hundreds of players every single week who are questionable to play, and we don't even bat an eye at it. Do not over-exaggerate the potential of this illness. Unless he's in the hospital, he's playing tomorrow. And even if he's in the hospital, he'd probably show up to the game and still play. I'm not taking the risk. I'm playing Hurts tomorrow. And if I have to, I'll pivot to Mariota or Locke. DK Mitchell says, full PPR. I have Bijan, Kyron, Rashad White starting. Should I swap Mostert, Achane, or Zeke for any of those? No, I have all 3 of those ranked higher, so I'd keep it as is, DK. Thank you. Kia sends in a question. Kia says half PPR. Who do I start in the flex? Foreman or Taysom Hill? Also, for my wide receiver 3, do I start Cooper or Zay Jones? I'd play Amari Cooper over Zay Jones. As for your flex between Taysom Hill and Foreman, I'd rather play Taysom Hill. Thank you. Van Steele says full PPR, Aaron Jones or Terry McLaurin? Let me check who I have ranked higher. Aaron Jones currently sits there. Terry McLaurin is, in fact, where is he? Terry McLaurin is ahead of him. Thank you. In a full PPR. Half PPR would be the other way around. Appreciate it. Nick James Music. Nick James, do you actually play music? I'd be more than happy to listen. Anyway, Nick James says full PPR tight end, Goddard or Taysom Hill? I'd like to play Taysom Hill there. As for your defensive question, Miami's defense, playing Hall and Garrett Wilson this week, or do I play Cleveland defense and stay away from or stay with Miami? I would stay with Miami. I mean, regardless of the fact, look, for your overall enjoyment, I would say, okay, sure, maybe you bench Miami just so you're just outright rooting for the Jets. But I think in terms of fantasy success, I think the Miami play is the better. Legendary Duke in the chat says, man, Montgomery let me down. Yeah, who would have guessed that the Detroit Lions would score 6 touchdowns as an offense and not a single one of them would go to David Montgomery, huh? What a crazy week. Logan Semple says, no question. Happy to follow your advice going into Ty Chandler yesterday. Congrats. I mean, Ty Chandler had like 10 points in the first quarter. I mean, not even the first quarter. He had 11 points on the first drive of the game. Can you imagine that? What a crazy game. Ty Chandler pretty much solidifying himself as the running back, even if, Madison returns. Thank you, Logan, for all the kind words. Appreciate it. Alan Ross says, PPR went with Montgomery, Chase, and Freiermuth yesterday. Really behind right now. Do I shoot for the stars and play Achane over Henry for a catch-up? No, I think Derrick Henry is the play. I think he's just, like, Henry against the Texans is as good as it could possibly get, in my opinion. So I'd keep it as is. Joe says in a question. I don't know how to pronounce that last name, but Joe, your question is full PPR, flex, Connor, London, or Komet. Between those 3, I would play James Conner. Thank you, Joe. RJ says, hey, Andrew, in a full PPR, OBJ or Keaton Mitchell, I'll play OBJ in a full PPR. Thank you. Andy Lopez says, with Olave out, do I play Rashid Shaheed or Godwin in a full PPR? I would play Godwin there. And it also says, by the way, I have Allen and Pittman. Yeah, I would still play Godwin there, regardless. Thank you. Kennifer says, Puka, Waddle, Bijan, Achane, Henry, AJB. AJB as in AJ Brown. And CD on the bench one. Okay, so CD Lamb has to play. Derrick Henry has to play. Bijan has to play. Yeah, of the available options that you have, legitimately, Achane's the bench. I don't think I'm playing Achane over Puka, Waddle, AJ Brown, or CD Lamb. And I'm certainly not playing him over Derrick Henry or Bijan right now. Thank you. Chef New York City says, Stafford or Love in a half PPR? I'll take Stafford there. Thank you. National Champ Rush says, half PPR, Waddle or Ridley? Waddle. Thank you. Again, guys, just an update, just so we're all on the same page. I know you want to hear me say it, just so you have like a little bit of a confirmation bias. The rankings that are on screen are up to date as of this morning, literally maybe like 30 minutes ago. So if you have any questions for a half PPR scoring format regarding these positions that you're wondering on screen in terms of interpositional rankings as to where I would go with it, the rankings on screen should be able to guide you in the right direction. So hopefully it helps. If you guys do appreciate it, click the like button. Thank you. Let's see here. We had a couple more questions here. One from Ray Lomas who says, Taysom Hill or Kincaid? I'll take Taysom Hill. Half or full PPR, doesn't matter. Legit Llama says full PPR, Achane, Wilson, or Waddle. Yeah, if I'm starting 2 of those 3, I'll take Wilson and Waddle. Thank you. Appreciate it. After Legit Llama, we had a question that came in from, where's after that? We had one from Brian. Brian, thank you. Full PPR, Hubbard, Jake Ferguson, Zay Jones. Let me check who I have ranked highest of the bunch. Full PPR. Let's see where Ferguson is. Ferguson's there. He's ahead of Chuba. Is he ahead of Zay Jones? He is as well. Yes. So Jake Ferguson's my suggestion there. Thank you. Ignacio Reyes says, Saints defense or Falcons? I'll take the Falcons this week. Barkley, Aaron Jones, Achane, or Zeke? Of the group there, Ignacio, considering I don't know your scoring format, I would just point you towards the rankings on screen. So it would go Barkley 1, Zeke 2, Aaron Jones 2, 3. Sorry, yeah. Barkley 1, Zeke 2, Aaron Jones 3, Achane 4. Thank you. Charles T sends in a question. Half PPR, Likely or Kincaid? I'll take Likely over Kincaid. Follow up, Kyler or Fields? I'll take Fields. Thank you. Kiwi Sportsmate. Kiwi, hope you're doing well. Says, I have Fields as my quarterback 1 and the Browns defense. Is it worth starting the Saints defense and with this strategy? Yeah, I think it'd be worth it. I lost Tyreek Hill today playing Zay Flowers versus DJ Moore. Yeah, you'll be fine there. But yeah, I do prefer the Saints over the Cleveland Browns defense in your question, Kiwi. Thank you. Alex W says Odell Beckham Jr. or Aaron Jones in a full PPR. I'm fairly certain, yes. I have OBJ 2 spots ahead of Aaron Jones in a full PPR. Thank you. Moving on to Luke Rosenquist, who says flex Keaton Mitchell, Dalton Kincaid, CEH, or London. Out of the group in a half PPR, I'd play Clyde Edwards-Helaire there, Luke. Thank you. Brandon Dacus sends in a question. Says full PPR, pick 2, Thielen, Zay Jones, or Shaheed. Out of the available options, I'll play Zay Jones and Shaheed there, Brandon. Rest of season, do I play Komet or Likely? Depends on schedule. Let me look at their upcoming. Based on, I think the schedule. Where is it? Okay. So the Baltimore Ravens play against the San Francisco 49ers and Miami Dolphins, and then the Bears play against the Arizona Cardinals and the Atlanta Falcons. I would rather have Komet rest of season, to be honest. Assuming, of course, we have a healthy and, good to go duo between him and Fields. Kyle Strobel sends in a question, says Gibson, Flowers, or Connor PPR. Flowers number 1, Gibson 2, Connor 3. Thank you. Where are we at? Eliza Givens says full PPR. Defense: Miami, New Orleans, or Chicago. Between the 3, I'll take Miami's defense number 1, New Orleans 2, Chicago 3. As for kickers, between Jason Sanders and Jake Elliott, I'll take Jason Sanders. So I'll take both of the Miami players, their defense and their kicker. Thank you, Eliza. Appreciate it. Justin Wall says London, Demarcus Robinson, or any Houston wide receiver. Yeah, I'll take any Houston wide receiver. Specifically, if I was to give you the name, it's Noah Brown. Thank you. Let's see here. Catching up. Apologies. Just trying to do my best quickly as I possibly can. Give the rankings out. Again, let's see here. Where are we at? Justin Wall, we took care of you. You're good to go. Jamel Joyner. Thank you, Jamel. Says half PPR, Mitchell or Walker. If it's between Keaton Mitchell and Kenneth Walker, I'll take Kenneth Walker this week. As for the follow-up, need one flex. I'm thinking of Mitchell has more upside. Thoughts? More upside? He technically has more of the boom potential, but he's not the safer baseline play. So I think if we're going to contemplate between the two, who has the ability to score a touchdown, I think there's just as likely of a touchdown to happen with Kenneth Walker in the red zone as there is for Keaton Mitchell to break out a huge run. So for right now, I just continue to lean in the direction of playing Kenneth Walker there this week. And he also gets more utilization in terms of receiving work on top of it. So that's just the way that I'm leaning towards. Okay. Continuing on. Someone asked the Jets defense or Falcons defense 5 points per sack. Jets defense at that point. At that point, if it's 5 points, I mean, I don't know if the Jets defense actually gets after the quarterback like that. I think Cash Kid, you'd have to look it up. But if it's 5 points per sack, you're playing in a crazy league. But I think the Jets might be able to get after him considering the backup offensive line. But we'll see. Scrolling down after Jamel's question, we have Vic84. Vic, hope you're doing well. It says, hey, Andy. Help. My opponent is up 85 points already. Full PPR. Start one wide receiver, one flex. Shaheed with no Olave, Lockett, Ford, Singletary. In a full PPR, the wide receiver I play is Lockett. The flex that I play is probably Jerome Ford. Thank you. We move on to Kennifer, who says, I meant start 2 from Waddle, Achane, Puka, Henry. Sorry. Okay, cool. So of the available Kennifer, Waddle, Achane, Puka, Henry, I'll play Derrick Henry and I'll play Jalen Waddle. Those are the 2 that I prefer. Thank you. iShine101 says, Sup, Drew. Need upside in a full PPR, 10-team league. I have Kittle as my tight end 1. But for the flex, should I start Likely, Njoku, or Godwin? So you have Kittle as your tight end 1. Should I play Likely, Njoku, or Godwin? Let me see where I have Njoku in comparison to Godwin. So under the assumption that the weather is solid, I'll take Njoku over Godwin. Otherwise, the opposite. Let me look at the weather right now. Let's go ahead and close this. Let's close this. We've already set those lineups. We're good to go. Let's go to Twitter. Let's look up this Cleveland game. Bears at Browns. Okay, let's go to this. What are we looking at? I don't think the weather's crazy. It's gonna rain, but they're gonna throw the rock. I think they'll be fine. I think I just played Njoku there in this circumstance. But if you're worried about it, I think Godwin's a great pivoting option that you have available. Thank you, iShine. Appreciate it. Tamir K says in a half PPR, Achane, Reed, or Gibson. Achane, Reed, Gibson. Achane, Reed, Gibson. Okay, let me look at my rankings real quick. So as of right now, I do have Antonio Gibson ahead of Achane. But as for Jaden Reed, I have him ahead of both. So I take Jaden Reed there. Thank you. Trey McGraw says Waddle, Zeke, or Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp out of all three. Thank you. Moving on to, let's see here. Ravion Jordan, who says down Olave, Nico Collins in a 12-man half PPR league. Okay. So playing fired up JSN, or do I go with Likely or Robert Woods or Parker Washington? No, I'd go with JSN there this week. Thank you. You're good to go. Okay, where are we at? Catching up. We had a question that came in from Hector Martinez. Thank you, Hector. Appreciate it. Good morning. With Olave out, I need one for the flex between Odell Beckham Jr., Godwin, London, Noah Brown. I'll take OBJ there. Thank you, Hector. We had a question from Jason Cook, who says, yo, hope you're doing well. I am. Thank you. Hope you are as well. Full PPR, I need a flex, Travis Etienne, DJ Moore, or Zay Flowers. Between those three, I'll take Zay Flowers. Thank you. Jorge Perez with the question says, good morning. Full PPR, pick one, Kincaid or Goddard. Between the two of them, I'll take Goddard over Kincaid in a full PPR. Also, Browns or Packers defense, I'll take the Browns defense. I have Sanders, can pick up Haversick. Is Noah worth a stash, or should I drop him for someone like Waller? If you need tight end help, I think it's a good swap to Waller just in case. Otherwise, Noah Brown's a solid stash, considering, Nico Collins could end up missing even more time within this offense, even after Stroud returns. So I'm okay holding Noah unless you need tight end help. Outside of that, Goddard over Kincaid, Browns over Packers. Thank you. Jason Cook says, okay, so we took care of Jason Cook. We took care of Jorge. Chris Foy. Thank you, Chris. Derrick Henry, Tony Pollard, Rashee Rice, pick two. Derrick Henry is the for sure start in a full PPR. Is this a full PPR question? I don't know if it is. Let me see here. If it's a full PPR, I'm still playing Pollard ahead of him. So in a half, it's going to stay as such. So Henry and Pollard this week. Thank you. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. We move on to Adam G. Adam, thank you. Half PPR, Etienne, Zay Jones. Also, Titans defense or Browns? As of right now, I'll take Etienne, and I'll probably just still take the Browns defense there. I think the Titans, I have them back-to-back in my rankings, as you can see on screen right now. But yeah, considering the weather, I think the Browns are probably a better defense overall, considering it could be a little bit sloshy over there, muddy game. Shane says, can you expand upon Swift versus Achane? Yeah, the only issue that I have with Achane is that he's still injured, right? Like, they're going to play him because they know he's capable of playing. But the issue that I have is, if we're in a game in which there's no Tyreek Hill, they're running the ball for majority of the game, they established last week inherently that they greatly prefer to utilize Raheem Mostert on those early downs. And as long as they are even or in a negative game script, they're going to continue to use Mostert. So I think they established that last week in the Monday night game against the Tennessee Titans. And because of that establishment, unless, there's a huge breakout run for Devon Achane or, a potential goal line carry, which is always on the table, but obviously on Monday went the other direction, I would continue to look in the direction of Swift, who will potentially get himself a far greater workload of opportunity in a better matchup, and potentially with Jalen Hurts a little bit, as people like to say, downgraded, which I don't really think is going to make a difference. I just think they get back to running the ball because they need to. Travis Hayes says, pick two, Gabe Davis, Deontay Foreman, Damian Pierce. Between those three, I'd play Foreman and Gabe Davis. Thank you. Garcia Angel says, full PPR, Ezekiel Elliott or DK Metcalf in the flex. Really good question. So in a full PPR, I would objectively say if Geno Smith is playing, I would like to play DK Metcalf. Considering I don't have an absolute guarantee for that, it makes it a little bit trickier. Let me see here. Where are we at? Where is Mr. DK Metcalf? Yeah, it is. So I have him so far ahead of Zeke because of the matchup, man. I think that honestly, Geno plays tomorrow. So if I'm in your position, I roll with DK Metcalf. And even if it's Drew Lock, we were proven last week he can still, function pretty well. And it's an even better matchup in comparison to going against San Francisco last week. So I'll take DK there in a full PPR. Thank you. Let's see here. We had another question from, okay, where are we at? Okay. We had one from Dimes. Thank you, Dimes. It says, need two out of Hubbard, Achane, Gibson, and Amari Cooper. Out of those four, assuming it's a half PPR, I'd probably take Gibson and Hubbard. Thank you. Where are we at here? We have Matthew Wallace. Matthew, where is your question, though? Control F. Matthew Walrus says James Cook or Jaden Reed in a half PPR. I have Jaden Reed ranked higher. Let me confirm that. Where's Cook? Jaden Reed. Yeah, he's 2 spots ahead of James Cook. Thank you. Ravion Jordan says I need one between Likely and Robert Woods in Washington. Got it. I'll take Isaiah Likely out of the 3. Thank you. Matt Morati. Let's see here, Matt. Where are you? Matt Morati says Ridley or Chuba Hubbard in the flex. I'll take Chuba Hubbard. I'll take Chuba Hubbard there. I'm fine with that. Pretty comfortable. Matt also had a follow-up question. Noah Brown or Foreman? I'd only ever play Noah Brown over Foreman in a full PPR. Otherwise, half or standard, I'd play with Foreman in my lineup. Thank you. All right, let's see here. After all that, let me update this. We're good to go. John Cozier says, full PPR. What do you think about DJ Moore's matchup? Don't love it. And starting Shaheed since Olave is out, that's probably getting too cute. Yeah, I would not play Shaheed over DJ Moore. Not at that point. I would still be willing to play DJ Moore. I've moved down DJ Moore a couple ranks, but not to the point to where he's getting to the 30s. Thank you. Okay, Hector Martinez says in the flex, half PPR, Godwin, Noah Brown, and London. I'll take Godwin there. Thank you. Kendall sends in a question. Says Flowers versus Waddle. Flowers versus Waddle. Considering there is no Tyreek Hill, I'm taking Waddle there. As for Howell versus Love in a non-PPR, I'll take Howell there. Thank you. Fabian Carrasco says, back again, Justin Fields or Jordan Love, full PPR. I started the Raiders defense. Congratulations. You're off to a great week. Between those two, looking at the weather in Cleveland, I'm still comfortable rolling with Justin Fields there. Thank you. Trey McGraw says, Waddle or Zeke? I'll take Waddle there. Thank you. Donahue Brown. Hope you're doing well, Donahue. Appreciate it. Flex, full PPR. Jerome Ford, Dobbs, Likely, Smith, and Jigba. Between those 4, Romeo Dobbs number 1. Number 2, I'd probably go with Ford. Then I go with JSN, then Likely. So for right now, if I'm playing one in the flex, it's Romeo Dobbs. Thank you. The Mad Capper says, with the weather, would you go Kyler over Flacco? Let me look at this weather again. It is definitely going to be a rain game. Like, objectively, it's going to be a rain game. Would I take Kyler over Flacco? Damn. If the weather gets worse, yes. So for right now, I probably say, considering they're so close in terms of ranking, yeah, let's make a pivot there. I'm okay with that. Lethal Jake says, missed it PPR. Can I trust Godwin over London, and why? Yeah, the primary reason why London, even though he's coming off a great week, it is assumed, and it is pretty active, the weather in Carolina is a disaster. It's raining cats and dogs. So I would assume that they're probably not going to throw the ball much in Carolina. And you also have Desmond Ridder on the road, which is never the best play. So for right now, I lean towards playing Godwin over London. Thank you, Lethal. Let's see here. We had a question that came in from Tamir K, who says full PPR, Demarcus Robinson, Michael Gallup, Robert Woods, Devontae. I'm assuming that Devontae that you're assuming, I'm assuming Devontae is Devontae Parker, and not because the way you spelt it, primarily because of that. Of the available options that you have, though, I play Demarcus Robinson there, Tamir. Thank you. Ibrahim Osman says, Cole Kmet, Isaiah Likely, full PPR, don't know any of the weather. Yeah, for right now, I would lean towards Isaiah Likely, regardless of weather. Thank you. We're moving towards a question from Damien. Let me see here, Damien. Where art that question? Damien's question is the following. HN or OBJ? If you're playing in a half PPR, I'm willing to go with HN. If it's a full PPR, I think it's too much. I'd go with OBJ. Thank you. Brian F says, start 2, Waddle, Puka, Rice, Jaden Reed, and also, okay, so between those, Waddle and Puka are my 2 that I'm starting there. Half PPR or full PPR. Follow-up question, Njoku, Waller, or Likely, I'd play Njoku there this week. Appreciate it. Isaiah Aguilar says, full PPR, Clyde Edwards or Noah Brown in the flex? I'll take Clyde Edwards there. Thank you. Brotherman says, pick 2, PPR, Shaheed, Ridley, Ford, Chuba. I'll take Chuba and Ridley. Thank you. Okay. We're good to go. We had a question from Jorge Perez again. Let's see here, Jorge. Where's your next question? Jorge says, full PPR, I have Sanders. I can pick up? Okay, we took care of that question already. Morning. Pick one, full PPR, Kincaid or Goddard. I was mentioning Goddard already to you. I have Sanders. Yeah, I would stick with Haversick unless you wanted to make a swap there. Follow-up question from Jorge was starters. Running backs are Kyron Williams and Mixon, AJ Brown and Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp. ETN is in the flex. My bench consists of McLaurin, Noah Brown, CEH. Any changes? No changes. You're good to go there, Jorge. Thank you. Appreciate it. Alrighty, where are we at? Scrolling all the way down, trying to catch up on these questions. Appreciate you guys' patience. BCO sends in a question. I don't see anything attached to it though. BCO, do me a favor. There wasn't anything attached to your super chat. Type in the chat so I can see what you're wondering. Thank you. Let me go ahead and change the rankings on screen back to quarterback and tight end. Appreciate it. Jacob sends in a question. Says, lost Tyreek Hill. Full PPR. Hunt, Charbonnet, or Edwards. In a full PPR, I'll take Charbonnet there. Thank you. Actually, it's raining pretty badly. No, that run stop defense for Chicago is too good. I'll take Charbonnet in a full PPR there, Jacob. Thank you. Okay, where art thou? We took care of that. We're looking for BCO still, which we haven't found. Canelo sends in a question. Says, Hurts is my QB1. Start Kyler or pick up Mariota? I'd pick up Mariota and wait. RZ King says, HN or Walker? I'm perfectly fine playing HN in a full PPR. Half PPR, I'd lean towards probably playing... Actually, even in a half PPR, I prefer... Yeah, half PPR, full PPR. Even in a standard, I'd probably just go HN there. That's where I had it earlier this morning. That's where I continue to, keep it. Edson Santos says, DeMarcus Robinson or Kareem Hunt to start. In a full PPR, oh, man, that's really tough. I'd probably end up... I'd probably play DeMarcus Robinson there. Thank you. Actually, forget probably. I would play DeMarcus Robinson there. JK sends in a question. Says, full PPR, best available defense and kickers pickup for the next 2 weeks. Bills defense, if they're available, is the best defense. As for kickers, I'd have to look at their schedule and their weather. Rocky de Blasio says, Devontae Smith or Waddle? Give me Waddle. Thank you. Moving on, we have a question from Richard Feast, who says, full PPR, Cole Kmet or Kincaid? I'll take Kincaid there. Thank you. Mindy sends in a question. Says, should I start Wando Robinson, Robert Woods, or Xavier Gibson? So considering the Jets got back Alan Lazard last week, Xavier Gibson got a little bit of a dip in terms of his overall snap share. So between the three of these options, I'll go Wando Robinson, number 1, Robert Woods, 2, and Xavier Gibson, 3 in that order, Mindy. Thank you. Okay, after that question, we had one from Elias Ambriz, who says, who should I start? Would you start JSN or Zay Jones over London? Yes, I would start them both over London in a full PPR this week. Thank you. We had a question from BCO who says, potentially Mariota or roll with Flacco? I would go with potentially Mariota. Because if you have Jalen Hurts, I'm rolling with it, baby. Let's see here. We had a question that came in from Burnell Turner. There wasn't anything attached, Burnell. Let me see if you typed in the chat earlier. Burnell. Nothing in the... Burnell. There you go. Burnell says full PPR. 1 running back, 1 wide receiver, 1 flex. We have Aaron Jones, Zay Jones, Chuba Hubbard, and Jaden Reed. Out of those options, I'd go with... Let me check really quickly. Full PPR. Chuba Hubbard is right here. Zay Jones is ahead of him. So I'd go with RB's Aaron Jones. Wait. Yeah, in a full PPR, RB Aaron Jones, Jaden Reed wide receiver, Zay Jones in the flex. That's in a full PPR because of your format, Burnell. Thank you. We have Cyrus316, who sends in a question. Thank you, Cyrus. Who says full PPR, pick 2. Kenneth Mitchell. I think you meant Keaton, but it may have auto-corrected. Keaton Mitchell, Marquise Brown. Okay, now I'm starting to worry. So you said pick 2 between Kenneth Mitchell, Marquise Brown, and Keaton Mitchell. So I'm assuming you meant Kenneth Walker, Marquise Brown, Keaton Mitchell. If I'm picking 2 of the 3, I'll take Marquise Brown and Kenneth Walker. Thank you. Trey Perez says full PPR, flex, Reed, Brandon Cooks, Hunt, Chuba Hubbard, and Ford. In a full PPR, Reed has to play, and I think so does Brandon Cooks. But for sure, I think Reed is the first and foremost out of the group. Thank you. Scrolling down, we had a question that came in from Love Slick. There wasn't anything attached to it. Love with an L-U-V, huh? Love, do me a favor and just type in the chat and I'll get to your question. B Normie sent in a question. B Normie. says, just curious, what's the reasoning behind Amari Cooper being higher than Lockett? I have both in a full PPR. I think it's just target opportunity in terms of volume. Like last week, the volume of getting 14 targets is a pretty ridiculous number. And considering how great that run stop defense is for the Chicago Bears, like there is nothing but passing the ball today for Flacco. Like he's going to have to pass. Like I don't care what the weather looks like. That Chicago Bears run defense has been the best since week 5. They have been dominant. So in comparison between the two, I know Lockett has a great matchup. Quarterback play, obviously, it's still in question, but between the two, the target opportunity as the number one receiver of his offense, I prefer Amari Cooper in that circumstance. Let's see. Read a question from Zach Scheller, who says, Deontay Foreman or Dallas Goedert half PPR? I'd rather play Deontay Foreman. Thank you. After that question from Zach Seller, we have Matthew Rosado, who says Tennessee over Atlanta's defense. Houston missing a lot of guys on offense. You can do that. That's fine by me. I don't have a problem with it. I do prefer Atlanta's defense, but if you want to play Tennessee, I don't have a problem with it. They're a great defensive play this week as well. Alex Ruiz says PPR flex Taysom Hill or Noah Brown. In a full PPR, I probably play Taysom Hill still. Thank you. Freddie sends in a follow-up question, says, play Kyler or risk it with Hurts and Mariota on Monday? I'd like to risk it. That's me. You can, again, guys, I am going to take risks. That's the way that I would approach it. If I was going to make a suggestion, I'd probably say, well, no, if I was going to make a suggestion, I'd say let's gut it out and let's just go for the potential of Hurts playing. But you could be a little bit less risk averse and you might want to play Kyler, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with it. But for me, I'm waiting for Monday. As for your other question, I have an okay cushion with Gibbs and St. Brown from yesterday. I would still wait. But if you want to play Kyler, Freddie, all the power to you. You're the final decision maker of your team. I'm looking for DCO. Who did he end up typing in a question? Oh yeah, he did, right? He or she, they. BCO we took care of. Okay, cool. So the only person we were met. Okay, we took care of Burnett. We took care of Cyrus. Boom, boom, boom. Love, we could take care. Oh yeah, Love. That's who it was. Love. Love says defense, Saints or Falcons. I'll take the Falcons this week. Quarterback, Stroud is out on bench. Jalen is questionable. Wait for him or pick up Howell, Love, Carr, Geno, Wilson, Young, Zappy. Yeah, this is what I would do. Love, I would pick up Geno, and if Jalen doesn't play, you play Geno, and if Geno doesn't play, then you play Drew Lock, and if Drew Lock doesn't play, you play Mariota. Thank you. Let's see here. After Love's question, we move on. We took care of Matthew Rosado. We took care of Alex Ruiz. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Freddie, we took care of Shelby. Where art thou, Shelby? All right, Shelby. Let's see here. So Shelby's question is the following. Thank you again. Full PPR, DeAndre Swift or DJ Moore in the flex. Okay, so in a full PPR, I think my preference is to play DJ Moore. I don't love the weather. I don't love the matchup. But I do think he's such a huge part of this offense in terms of rushing game, screen work. They're going to get him his opportunities, and I don't think he is that much of a downgrade of a play because of these other variables that potentially impact him to be a lesser potential roster spot there. So as of right now, between Swift and DJ Moore, if it's my team, I play DJ Moore there. Thank you, Shelby. Appreciate it. Okay, we're good to go. Good to go. Boom, boom. Becky Davis. Becky, thank you. Says Taysom Hill or Isaiah Likely in a full PPR. Currently, in my full PPR rankings, I have Isaiah Likely one spot ahead of Taysom Hill. They're both the same tier tight end. They're both tier 5 in my current rankings. But Isaiah Likely 7 and Taysom Hill's number 8. Thank you. We move on to a question from Nomad Ali. Nomad, thank you. So Standard League JSN, London, Zay Jones. Also defense, Tennessee or Baltimore. I prefer Tennessee over Baltimore. Between London, JSN, and Zay Jones in a standard scoring format, I play Zay Jones. Thank you. Okay. Where are we at? Danny Boy sends in a question. Thank you, Danny Boy. Appreciate it. Danny Boy says, Waller or Schultz or Kmet. Between those three, I have Kmet number 1. I have Waller, if I'm not mistaken, number 2. And I have Schultz number 3. The reason why I have Schultz as low as I do, if Stroud was active, he would be the highest ranked player here. But considering it's not even Davis Mills, but it's Case Keenum, I'm a little bit less inclined to play him in comparison to the other alternative options. So I go Kmet, Waller, Schultz in that order. Thank you, Danny. Appreciate it. Somebody asked Tucker Kraft or Cade Otton today. I have Tucker Kraft ahead of Cade Otton. Thank you. Crypt Keeper sends in a question. Crypto Keeper says PPR going for highest upside. Tyreek Hill is out, Nico Collins out, JT is out. Keaton Mitchell or CEH. Going up against Lamb, Amon Ra. I'm just ranting at this point. Okay, Crypt. So you want higher upside, dude? I honestly think it's CEH. Like if we're thinking about, everyone was like angry Mahomes today, right? That was like the indication. If we're gonna get angry Mahomes and they're gonna mount a lead and they're gonna dominate against this, Patriots defense, I would venture to say that they're probably gonna be able to find a lot of success on the ground. But not only that, but have a lot of garbage time rushing attempts go in the direction of Clyde Edwards. So I'd probably lean in his direction. It is very difficult for me to assume that Keaton Mitchell could break out a 60-yard run. He's capable of it, but I think the safety and the upside potentially in a full PPR, considering the usage of receiving work CEH gets, is on his side. So I'd go with Clyde Edwards there. Thank you. We had a question from Perry or Paul who says full PPR, Chuba Hubbard or Rashid Shaheed. I'd rather play Chuba Hubbard there. Thank you. Thank you, Perry. After Perry's question, we had one from B. It just says B. It says McKinnon, London, Hunt, Curtis Samuel, Romeo Dobbs, A. Jones. Half PPR. Out of those available options, I'd go with Romeo Dobbs. Thank you, B. Chris Rosado says pick 1.5 PPR, Walker or Reed. I'd play Reed. Rams kicker or Elliott? Rams kicker. Thank you. Alrighty. Okay, so we're looking good. I need to check some of these weathers real quick, just for my mental sanity, just to see what the heck is going on here. So looking at the weather in Cleveland, I'm not that scared of it. It's not that bad, guys. It's not that bad. Let me look at the Panthers game real quick. Oh man, that storm going into Carolina is a disaster. Baby. Okay, let's see here. Let me look at this real quick. What does the weather look like as we speak? Currently not raining, and I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't rain at all. But as of 9 minutes ago, it was raining, and there was a couple pictures and a couple videos from public people, in the stadium that it is raining. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I think these games, they're gonna have light rain. It's nothing gonna be that's omega crazy, but it's still gonna be significant enough to potentially make an impact. We had a question that just came in from Ahmed. Ahmed, thank you. It says PPR, Jaden Reed or Keaton Mitchell? High ceiling. I'll take Jaden Reed in a PPR. Thank you. Bud1261 in the chat says, I need a miracle from one guy in my league. I need a miracle in one league. Guy had Laporta, Colts defense, and Matt Gay yesterday. Yeah. I mean, that's, whew, sheesh. Yeah, that's a buzzsaw of a team right there. Levis or Flacco? I'll still play Flacco there. George. Kevin in the chat said Zeke, Chuba, or McLaurin. In a full PPR, I'm taking Zeke number 1, McLaurin 2, Chuba 3. We had a question that came in from Gabe. Gabe Bree says, Hurts or Stafford? PPR, go with Ford, Ferguson, or Douglas. I'd go with Ferguson, Ford, Douglas. So Ferguson number 1 in terms of that flex in a full PPR. As for Hurts and Stafford, if you want to play Stafford just to be safe, you're perfectly fine in doing so. I'd like to play Jalen Hurts, and that's probably what I would do. Where are we at here? Tamir K says Kyler or Tua. I'd rather play Kyler there. Puka or Rice? I'd rather play Puka there. Spy Coffee. Let's see here. Why KC defense over San Francisco defense? Zappy lit it up against Pittsburgh. Anybody can light it up against Pittsburgh. Their defense is awful. We saw yesterday. They were up 13-0, and then they gave up 30 unanswered points to the Colts. Yeah, so I'm not too worried about Zappy. Don't worry about Zappy. Tennessee or New Orleans defense? I have New Orleans higher. Let me go ahead and just rank these guys on screen. There you go, guys. Kicker and defensive rankings as we close out today's live stream. I do appreciate you guys coming through. For those of you guys who have gone ahead, answered questions for one another in the community, asked questions, click the like button, anything. You're just hanging out. Even for those of you who have already come out and said, hey, I'm on a bye week, but I'm just here to hang out. I appreciate it. Any underdog picks? Let me see. So in terms of underdog picks, let's see here. I have a couple different numbers in comparison to where it was. I like Derrick Henry anytime touchdown. I like Breece Hall going higher on his receptions, assuming it's still 4.0. And I like Justin Fields going higher on his rushing attempts, assuming it's still 10.5. And DeAndre Hopkins going higher on his receptions, assuming it's still 4.5. So Hopkins higher than 4.5 receptions. Fields higher than 10.5 rushing attempts. Breece Hall higher than 4.0 receptions. Derrick Henry anytime touchdown. You don't have to put them all within one slip, but I like them individually within their overall circumstances. Cleveland or New Orleans defense? I have New Orleans ranked higher on screen. Let's see here. We had a question that came in from Jay Nice. Jay Nice, thank you. It says Dallas Dallas Goedert or Cole Kmet since Hurts is up in the air. Even if it's Mariota loves his tight ends. Loves his tight ends. I would still play Dallas Goedert there. Huck Brooks says, standard flex, spot win. Okay, spot win. Or go home, Achane or Zeke. For some reason, Achane strikes fear in when I bench him. I can understand that. I would probably play Zeke, but if you want to, play Achane. I do not blame you for wanting to play Achane because we all know what he's capable of. I think we've all, it's been demonstrated by his efforts over the course of the season already what he's capable of. We had a question that came in from Anthony. Says, back again. Considering weather, PPR, one wide receiver and two flex options. We have Amari Cooper, Antonio Gibson, Dobbs, London, Zay, Zeke. Okay, so your two flex options, in my opinion, are probably going to be Zeke and let me see if I have Dobbs or Antonio Gibson ahead. I have Antonio Gibson ahead. So it's Zeke and Gibson are your flex plays. As for your wide receiver, it's probably between Amari Cooper and Dobbs. I prefer to play Amari Cooper if you want to play Dobbs because considering the weather, I don't have a problem with that. I'm facing against Jordan Love. I also why Reed over Dobbs? Total target opportunity, touchdown opportunity, everything, and especially considering Dobbs plays on the outside and he has far more likelihood of playing against a safety over the top. Reed plays in the slot position. That's the reason why he gets majority of the overall receptions or at least more receiving work as of late. And of course, that touchdown upside is just, it's so inherent within his overall kind of, I would say, potential score line. Okay, where are we at here? We're trying to catch up before we end out. Molly Wappin says, Mayfield or Flacco? If you're worried about the weather, I have no problem playing Mayfield ahead of Flacco. Currently, I do have Flacco ahead of Mayfield, though. Thank you. Shelby sends in a follow-up. Shelby, I think we took care of your question, right? Let me see here. Shelby. Okay, since more in the flex, Achane or Swift at running back? Ha ha ha. Oh, man. I think I have Swift ahead of him. How confident am I in that? Man. Okay. Considering he's coming off the injury, he's done it before, but I would. Seattle's not good at running. Yeah, I would play Swift. Seattle sucks at stopping the run. If they give Swift the ample amount of volume that he deserves, considering the offensive line he plays behind, they should be able to bulldoze through that defense very easily. Like that Seattle Seahawks defense cannot stop the run. They have shown it week over week. It's just a matter of can they give Swift the opportunity volume. And I'm assuming they do in comparison to the volume of touches that at least Achane will get today. I mean, just talking about some of the running attempts that we've seen against Seattle as of late in terms of running back efforts. I mean, just recently. 145 from McCaffrey. He could have had a touchdown, but they gave it to Mason. We had 68 from Pollard with a touchdown. McCaffrey, 114 and 2 touchdowns. Royce Freeman had himself 73. Darrell Henderson had a touchdown in that game. Keaton Mitchell went for 138 against them. Like, they just cannot stop the run as of late. Obviously against some pretty good teams, but I think the Philadelphia Eagles are a pretty good team when they want to run the ball. And that's the thing. I'm assuming they'll want to run the ball this week in comparison. Thank you, Shelby. Let's see here. Estevan Leal says, Puka, Achane, Evans, Pollard, one wide receiver, one flex in a standard scoring format. In a standard scoring format, I will take Pollard and Evans. Thank you. Following it up, boom. Let's see here. The Low Life says, hey, boss, with Jalen sick, who's better, Howell or Love? Howell. Thank you. Moving on, we had a question that came in from B Normie. B Normie, where you at, my man? Control F, B Normie. Did you see the news about Aaron Jones? No. What news? Geno Smith is expected to be a game time decision on Monday. That was expected. Okay. Where's the news on Aaron Jones? What is it? I don't see anything about Aaron Jones on my phone. I see Eagles. I see Matt Patricia. I see Eagles. I see Geno. I don't see anything about Aaron Jones. Keep it moving. Let's see here. Okay, answering questions. How's the weather in Cleveland? It's drizzling, but it's not a monsoon. We're not losing our minds there. CH or Hollywood, I'll take CH there. Puka, Zeke, or ETN. If it's a full PPR, I'll take Puka. If it's half, I'll take Zeke. Keenan Allen, Jamar Chase replacements. Deontay Johnson, Zay Jones, Brandon Cooks. Deontay Johnson should have played. if you watched yesterday's live stream, and then the follow up to that would be Brandon Cooks in a half PPR. If you didn't play Deontay Johnson, you just play Zay Jones and Brandon Cooks today. Okay, Tua or Howell? I prefer Howell. Boom. Jesse says Cooper with the weather or JSN with no Geno. I'd rather play Cooper with the weather. Devon Achane or Calvin Ridley. I'd rather play Devon Achane. Okay. It says Nanner says snap count 10 to 20 plays. That's what they project for what? For Aaron Jones? I don't see the report. So I don't know how legit of a report that is, guys. Eagles, Rams, Eagles. I don't see anything about this Aaron Jones thing, guys. J Beats 14 says D-Hop or Antonio Gibson. I'll take D-Hop there. Thank you, J Beats. All right, guys. Let's see here. Let's answer a couple more questions here. Boom. Cameron Spicer says Achane or Calvin Ridley. We took care of that one. We'll play Achane. Hollywood, Reed or Foreman, half PPR. Andrew, Collymore. I will play Reed there. Mitchell or Ferguson. If it's Keaton Mitchell, I'd rather play Jake Ferguson ahead of him. Should I go with Zeke, Achane, or Aaron Jones? Zeke. Howell or Tua. I'd rather play Howell. Excuse me. Would it be smart to drop Dustin Hopkins and pick up Lucas Haversick? Yes, I would pick up Lucas Haversick if you can. Gallup or Mechie? I'd much rather play Michael Gallup than John Mechie. Mechie doesn't get enough snaps within that offense, even with receivers out. He'll get more snaps today, but even Hutchinson, the other guy, was playing more than him last week. LaFleur spoke. Yeah, I don't have the report. Until I get an actual indication, I'll leave it up to you guys as to what you decide to do with him. Let's see here. Godwin or Njoku? In a full PPR, I'd probably end up playing Njoku there today. Puka or Pollard? I'd rather play Pollard. Defensive ranking? Sure. Let me go ahead and change them on screen real quick. Also, Hurts might be out on Monday. Yeah. Keep in mind that you can probably go pick up Mariota just in case. Fields or Kyler? I prefer to play Fields. He's going to run the ball a bunch today. Hubbard or Aaron Jones? Just play Hubbard. If it's actually going to be limited, just play Hubbard. They're close enough into. I mean, I already have Hubbard ahead of him. Look, right here. Boom. Hubbard. Aaron Jones. Boom. So if it's Aaron Jones or Achane, you want to swap it? Swap it. Play Achane ahead of him. If it's Kenneth Walker or Aaron Jones, play Kenneth Walker. Like, if it legitimately says that Matt LaFleur came out and said if the head coach came out and said, hey, yeah, we're going to give the public and the other team exactly what we're going to do today. We're only going to use Aaron Jones 15 times. Why would he strategically, as a head coach, say that? It doesn't make any. I mean, I'm about to start cursing. Never mind. It's 10 a.m., guys. Before I lose my mind, I want to thank you guys. Parker A says, I'm already thinking to put McBride or Ridley. I think already asked, but McBride or Ridley? Yeah, I'll take McBride there. I do appreciate you guys. Let's hope for the best of possible luck here. Let's hope that we can get the best play from our players. Let's hope that we can avoid injury. That's the worst thing for fantasy is injury. Best of luck, everyone. I appreciate all your support. I appreciate for those of you who have clicked the like button, sent in a super chat, just chatted in general, and just arrived and just watched. Much love. Appreciate y'all. I'll be back tomorrow with waiver wire pickups because there will be injuries. After the extent, let's just hope it's not to the crazy amount. Let's just keep it to a base minimum. Thank you everybody for watching. Best of luck. Keep in mind, rankings are on screen. If you guys need to go ahead and come back later in the afternoon for any sort of rankings, I'll potentially have the video up and ready to go. Appreciate it. Much love. I'm going to cue the music. I'm going to be heading out. Appreciate y'all. Enjoy your Sunday. Let's win some fucking games.